Call the meeting to order. Council chambers, regular city council meeting, 1110 Houston Street, Laredo, Texas, August 4th, 2025 at 30 p.m. I'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. Secretary, roll call, please.
Yes, Mayor. Honorable Mayor Dr. Victor G. Trevino.
Present.
Honorable Council Member District 1, Gilbert Gonzalez. Honorable Council Member District 2, Ricardo Rangel Jr. Honorable Council Member District 3, Melissa Cigarroa. Honorable Council Member District 4, Ricardo Rick Garza. Honorable Council Member District 5, Ruben Gutierrez Jr.
Present.
Honorable Council Member District 6, Dr. Tyler King.
Present.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem and Council Member District 7, Vanessa Perez. Honorable Council Member District 8, Alisa Cigarroa. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may make a motion to excuse members that are missing.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Mayor, motion for the approval of the minutes of July 21st, 2025 and July 29th, 2025.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Mayor, motion to bring up in order number 52, 51, and 53. Recognitions before public comment.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Recognitions. Item number 52. Recognition of Bishop James Tamayo and Diocese of Laredo for 25 years of dedicated service in spiritual and community needs of the city of Laredo. Right.
Bishop Tamayo, I hope you accept this recognition from the sincerity of all of our hearts here at council. We realize and appreciate all of what the diocese has done these 25 years. It is not merely meeting the spiritual needs of the community, but also the material needs with all the assistance that is provided by all of our Catholic institutions. We are so honored and grateful that, 25 years ago, the Pope, John Paul II, created the diocese, and that you have kept it thriving ever since and growing. So with that, I'd like to give you this recognition.
If I may just express a few words to council members as well as to the community. The Diocese of Laredo, from the beginning, I've always stated, is a neighbor to the community. And so it is a blessing when neighbors get to collaborate together, support each other for the good of the community. And you have done that. The City Council has done that and supported so many activities that the church has asked that we be a part of. And we have gladly been at your side when there have been needs or concerns for all of us. And so I thank you for this recognition. I'd also like to extend to each of the council members a beautiful symbol of our 25th anniversary. And it is with a theme that we've selected, Adelante Unidos. so that as we give thanks for the past, as we live in the present the best we can, we're still with hope looking to the future, that together we can continue to do the good that God has graced us with, and I thank you for this opportunity. I'd like to also, if I may, recognize we've had throughout this year activities, and 25 members of our community from Maverick County to Zapata County have been a part of this with me, and two of those members are here. Sister Vera, we thank you for being a part of that, and Sofia Santos is a member too of that community. We invite everyone to join us in the celebration August the 9th, Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Sames Ottawa Arena, again through the kindness of the city allowing us to use that facility. A massive celebration. All are welcome.
Thank you. Bishop, when I was searching for something appropriate to share with you, some people expressed surprise that the diocese has only been here for 25 years when we know that our church has been a stalwart and the reason for the foundation of our community since the 1700s. But I think it's important to note that the diocese is not only the city of Laredo or the county of Webb. It also covers the counties of Dimmitt, Jim Hogg, LaSalle, Maverick, Zapata, and Zavala since its inception in August 9th of the year 2000. So meeting the spiritual and material needs of so many people across South Texas, I think gives credence to why you are so deserving of this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more. And ready.
Right here. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Mayor, we're going to take one more picture. One more picture. Here, Bishop, please go over a little bit. Right there. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
There we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Mayor, if you'd allow me to, if you want to stay down there for the next one. Yes. Also, number 51 is next. Councilmember Gilbert Gonzalez.
Item number 51, recognition of the Laredo American Little League 16U champions, SRBB, and winning 3 titles this season. 2025 Little League Texas West Regional Qualifiers, 2025 Little League SRBB Texas West State Champions, 2025 Little League SRBB Texas West Section 4 Champions, and 2025 Little League SRBB District 34 Champions. Congratulations, guys.
You can pick it up.
Guys, what's finally being inside air conditioned this summer? You've been through a lot. You've made so much accomplishments. It is through hardworking athletes like you that we council have 2 years ago put it, and just wanted to accomplish and move forward with the sports complex so you guys can be performing out there and get prepared. Get prepared for high school and for college, and get those scholarships and play out of universities. So guys, congratulations so much. I'm gonna pass the mic to the coach.
Thank you everyone for the recognition. These players, awesome players, played their heart out. They never gave up. We came up a little bit short for the World Series, but all their effort, everybody noticed your effort. Great job, guys. We're proud of you.
We'd like to thank the parents for their support. I'd like to congratulate the players and thank the coaches.
Thank you, parents and coaches, for having us. And guys, keep it up. Keep up the good work.
Mayor, if I may say a few words? Gentlemen, just want to tell you all how proud we are of you. Representing Laredo the way you all do is phenomenal. You all out there in this 110-degree weather out there, going, speaks volumes. Keep on representing Laredo the way you do. You're doing a great job, phenomenal. We're very proud of you. Keep it up, guys. Congratulations.
Do you want it to move
A little bit closer, perhaps back.
Yes, you can all move back. Oh, yeah? That would be better.
Just the banners are so important. We want the banners.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just scoot over
We need
this.
to get closer all together. There we go.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we don't see him. You scoot over right there, perfect. Okay. Okay, right here with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. Thank you. Right over here with her.
1, 2, 3.
Right here. We're good?
Hey, everybody, look over here, please.
Big fellas.
Okay, you want to make sure?
You just want
I just got it right now, and I gave it.
Okay, I want to double check in case it didn't go through.
Okay.
Thank you.
Me da esta, and this. Yeah.
Here. Okay.
And he submitted.
Okay, Mayor, we have one more? Yes, go ahead. Number 53, recognizing Professor Paul Buitron III for authoring Symphony of Pugilism, harmonized by 7 flags, a tribute to Laredo's rich boxing and martial arts heritage. Donated to USA Savat, this work honors local fighters and community leaders, preserving history and inspiring future generations. So I brought this up because I've known Paul for maybe just over 15 years now. Great person, always advocating for Laredo, and brings kids together, teaching them honor, integrity, and of course, martial arts. So Professor, congratulations. Great job.
Number one, I want to thank you all for continuing to push the youth and continuing to push everybody together. And this book was not only written because of what we've done, Mayor. It was written because of other people also were boxers, also fought in the ring, and led our community forward. It's something that we cannot forget, something that we have to be pushing forward. So I want to thank you all. Okay, it means a lot. Councilwomen, keep doing a great job. Guys, keep going forward. Ruben.
Thank you. Congratulations. Paul Raymond Buitron III, in honor of your work, Symphony of Pugilism harmonized by 7 flags, preserving Laredo's boxing and martial arts legacy. Your dedication uplifts our history and inspires future generations. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. On another note, Councilwoman Cigarroa wanted to say a few words because she was also a sponsor of this item as well.
I just wanted to say, Professor Buitron wrote an essay recently that said, if you are strong in the ring and you show the character to keep working and improving your skills, that is an indication of your leadership in the future. And he truly believes that developing those skills leads to better leaders. And I must agree that the dedication and the hard work that must go into developing skills that can be lethal but also life-saving is a testament to strength of character. So thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
You want to sign this end, Mr. Nutt? Judge? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
3, 2. How are you? Very well.
For the record, I'd like to recognize Mayor Pro Tem, Cepeda, and Councilman Garza here. Thank you.
Mayor, if we may go back to citizens' comments. We have 2, Mayor, so far. We have 2, and the time is up already. What do we have?
There's 3.
3?
3.
Oh, 2? Okay, public comment. Chris Leindecker, citizens' comments.
Hello, Mayor and Council.
Hello.
My name is Chris Leindecker, and I've lived in the downtown area for the majority of my life. I recently read about issues surrounding downtown revitalization in the newspaper today, including comments from a few property owners who have thrown around the idea of demolishing their buildings and removing historic facades. The downtown area's historic facades are part of what make our city unique. The walls give downtown Laredo its sense of place. They're community assets, and they're icons, as important as San Agustin Church and the Republic of the Rio Grande Museum. Protecting these locations are essential to any long-term revitalization efforts. I'm calling on the city to rapidly create a historic facade zone protecting all street-facing facades within the downtown overlay. Even if mentioning the removal of facades were in jest, the threat of facade demolition is too serious to ignore and could derail any good faith conversation about how downtown gets revitalized before it begins. I am of the opinion that we need tools to protect our architectural heritage while we also give owners a clear and fair path to bringing their buildings back to life. Laredo does not have to invent these tools from scratch. San Antonio's Chapter 12 vacant building ordinance is an example of a ready-made blueprint. Under Chapter 12, every vacant structure in the historic district is registered once a year. The owner submits a 6-month work plan, carries basic liability insurance, and pays cost recovery fees that rise only if the project stalls. The city has the ability to step in to fix hazards and place a lien to recover costs. Adopting a historic facade zone and Chapter 12 style programs can offer clear expectations, allow the city to take potential demolition threats seriously, all while keeping the downtown restoration conversation positive and solution oriented. Thank you for your time, and thanks for the platform to allow me to speak on this.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is Maximiliano Prado.
Yes, right there.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Max Prado, and I'm here on behalf of the Laredo Immigrant Alliance. I am here today to urge you all to start having the hard conversations our city needs. Our community members are living in every day in fear of being in public. They fear that one of these days, when they're out in the way to work, to get groceries, to get gas, or on the way to pick up their kids, that they'll be stopped, detained, and deported. This is not an irrational fear. Many Laredoans have been deported while living their day-to-day lives. Some have been detained while at work, others referred to ICE after a traffic stop, and many more are detained while living their daily lives. Most are not detained because they have a criminal record, but because they have an ICE administrative warrant. These are not warrants signed by a judge. Instead, they are signed by an immigration officer for a civil offense, not a criminal one. While laws like Senate Bill 4 from 2017 prohibit policy that bans local law enforcement to interact with immigration officers, there is no law that requires our city to have a policy of cooperation with immigration officers. That means that there is no requirement for the Laredo Police Department to always cooperate with ICE by providing indirect support to them. Whether it is blocking a street, standing by as support, or lending any equipment, there is no state law that requires that. While I understand that Laredo needs to prioritize public safety, continued cooperation with ICE and other immigration enforcement agencies can actually endanger our community. We saw this with June's incident in mile marker 13. Many ran across I-35 to avoid detention, putting their own lives at risk. This is not prioritize public safety, as raids like this often put the lives of undocumented and documented Laredoans, as we've seen residents and citizens being detained across the country. The continuous cooperation between Laredo agencies, even though it is indirect, leads to our community members to not trust our city agencies. Less people, documented and undocumented alike, will be willing to trust our firefighters and cops. This can lead to less community cooperation in criminal cases or less crimes being reported. In the long term, they will damage our city's public safety, as officers are not able to get information they need. I am here today not to bash on our elected officials or to point fingers, but instead, I am here to attempt to help the city regain the trust of our immigrant community. It is time to have the hard conversations, the uncomfortable ones, that our city has been avoiding. How will future Laredoans see our city's actions when they look back on us? Will they see us as complicit with mass deportation? Or will they remember us as being a city that supports all Laredoans? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, if I may, motion to open up communications, your item, Mayor?
Yes. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passed. Item 7, communications. Presentation by Mayor providing general comments on any city matters, upcoming initiatives, and other relevant updates for the council and the public. An upcoming initiative, and as part of the mayoral strategic goal alongside with the Harvard Bloomberg program, I have been asked to select 4 senior officials to participate in the Harvard procurement program. This program consists of the cities throughout the world on reducing waste, improving purchasing, and training employees to meet their expectations and goals to assist the city of Laredo with their purchasing challenges. The city manager and I have discussed which personnel should be the most appropriate for these nominations, and they will be announced next month. As we finish these 3 programs with Harvard Bloomberg, which the public should have been free of charge to the city and incredibly useful for our city staff, I do want to thank personally former Mayor Michael Bloomberg and the Harvard University for selecting me to participate in these leadership programs, and as a result have helped the city of Laredo to continue working with the Harvard programs to better ourselves to our fullest potential. I know both Mr. Neb and Mayor Pro Tem Perez were going to complete some courses, and they will be visiting the Harvard campus later this month. On another update, I just recently had a meeting with the South Texas Alliance of Cities last week, where we spoke to several of the border mayors about our continued collaboration and efforts to keep our communities safe along the border. Part of this is to work collectively and not against our federal and state law enforcement agencies. There were several commonly shared objectives as border communities, especially when it came to federal operations that impact our communities. I know there's a group of individuals that would like to make this a political issue, but I want to specifically push back on the notion that the border is a war zone and that there is rampant violence being created by illegal immigration. This is not the case, especially in Laredo, where we have a robust Customs and Border Patrol and now military personnel. And when I bring up the chief of police in a minute, the FBI statistics further show that story. Just this morning, we had a high-speed chase that started along the Mines Road area, and with the aerial support from Customs and Border Patrol, the individual was apprehended and taken into custody without any fatalities. I do also want to address and reiterate some misinformation that has been spread about Laredo Fire and Police Department and their participation during immigration operations. I do want to reiterate that regardless of an individual's immigration status, the Laredo Police Department and the Fire Department's core functions is to offer aid and assistance when it comes to concerns of public safety in our community. And for example, where there's an immigration raid, there are suspected undocumented individuals running across the highway, or an individual that climbs on the top of a roof, or when a high-speed chase ensues to avoid capture, our local police officer and firefighters will provide assistance because the public safety risk is at hand. And as a city, we continue to cooperate and collaborate with our federal and state enforcement agencies, and to make sure that everyone is afforded due process granted by the Constitution. Because even though there's individuals that are not criminals that are being picked up during these raids, it is disingenuous to say that everyone that ICE is picking up are law-abiding citizens or individuals. I have seen a list of gang members, sexual predators, and people with outstanding warrants that have been arrested. So Chief Rodriguez is here. Can you please come up and share with us some of the most years crime statistics, if you may, please?
Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor. Chief Rodriguez for the record. As far as statistics goes, we're double digits down on every single crime. The only one that's pretty much we're caught up from compared to last year is the homicides. We're at 36% on burglary vehicles, 32% on auto theft, 69% on overdose deaths, 49% on robberies. And so those in itself, it gives you a visibility as to where the city is going as far as crime. We strongly believe that our core function, our mission should be to stay intact. And what I mean by that is that our focus should not be on other matters that are being handled by our federal partners, right? Our focus, yes, it continues to be our main objectives, which is our calls for service. Traffic accidents, domestic violence, sexual assaults, robberies, murders. That's the mission of the police department, to respond to this and making sure that we provide justice for those victims. The other thing, when we're talking about immigration, right, and you just said it, Mayor, I think that our function there is whenever the mission itself for our federal partners gets elevated to where it's a danger to them and to the public, we respond. And we need to respond because for whatever reason that is a hardcore criminal or a felon, and that he tends to run from the federal from our federal partners, we're going to engage in that sense. And the other thing also is that whenever we are doing our normal operations and we have a felon in our hands, whether he just committed a crime or he is wanted by us and he's a felon and he's also an illegal immigrant, that's when we start the process that we've done for many years. It didn't start this year. This is the process that has been done for many years since, I want to say, since the beginning of when we started doing police functions in the city. So when we're talking about the direction of the city right now is very safe, and we continue to pivot to different things and fill the gaps where they need to be filled to make sure that we continue with this notion of the double-digit decreases in every single crime.
All right, thank you very much, Chief.
Mayor, if I may have a comment here, question.
Yes, go ahead.
Chief, sorry, you mentioned that homicides are up, correct?
Yeah, we cut up in homicides this year.
As far as your cases are concerned, what is your percentage of cases that are closed or cases where the suspect has been found and is just waiting trial?
We have 100% clearance on every single case.
Thank you.
And keep in mind that these are cases that involve domestic violence and cases that involve the familiar issues, right? All of them involve that. It's not a case where it's a gang member to a gang member. It's not a violent, well, it is a violent crime, but it is not a gang member to another gang member killing each other. These are cases that involve family altercations and it leads to a homicide.
So 0 cases as of this year are involving criminals?
Correct.
Or as far as cartels are involved?
Correct.
Gangs? This is all domestic?
This is all domestic.
Thank you, Chief.
Mayor, may I?
Thank you. Go ahead.
Chief, in light of that and the increase or the rise of domestic violence cases and having really tragic outcomes, I just want to thank you and your staff for being so involved in the Domestic Violence Coalition, understanding that this is a social effort, a group effort with a lot of different agencies in the nonprofit sector, Webb County, the city, all coming together to see what we can do to stem this rise and change our culture so that we can decrease these really tragic incidents.
Yes,
and I want to
absolutely.
thank you for all the efforts of the police department in participating in that.
Thank you. Thank you, Council.
All right. Thank you very much, Chief. And now I'd like to bring up on supplemental agenda, General Counsel discussions and presentations.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. General Counsel discussion and presentation requested by Mayor. Supplemental Agenda A 2025-S-06, August 4th, 2025. Status and presentation of Buena Vista Sports Complex and grand opening. Knowing that we have some related issues that we're going to talk about during the budget workshop, I would like to table this item until after then.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. And number 4, discussion with possible action of city receiving donated part 25-C-125 bench honoring Olympian Jennifer Lozano. And the reason I wanted to bring this and highlight this is the goodwill being showed by individuals that want to highlight the success of other individuals, like our Olympian Jenna Lozano in this situation. I know Councilman Gutierrez has also been involved in this, but now that the bench is complete, let's see if it meets standards that the city requires. So my motion would be to send this item to management to see if we can get this bench installed, preferably at Jovita Park. And I know Ms. Stella Lopez is here, and maybe she would like to say a couple of words about this bench.
Good evening, Mayor, Honorable Council,
Go ahead.
staff. My name is Victor Trevino Jr. Ms. Stella Lopez, who's the person donating the bench, she lost her mother, so she's not going to be able to attend. So she'd like me to share with you that this has been a long process, and which she'd like to donate this as a gift to the city, and more specifically to highlight the talent within the city, especially our Olympian, Jennifer Lozano. We have been engaged with the family. Obviously, the location, she trains at Boxing Pride, which is next to Jovita Park. She's run there since she was a child, so she has connections to there. And I know Councilman Gutierrez has spoken to them on that issue. So, but she's open to wherever it need be. She's very connected to South Side because, as she says, she'd like to be an inspiration to the youth out there and to show them that anything's possible if you put your mind to it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Proceeding to number 5. Oh, there's a motion.
Motion second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passed. Number 5, discussion with possible action to pass a resolution for Mayor Trevino to work with the South Texas Alliance of Cities, Homeless Security, and other agencies to work collaboratively on hiring of local law enforcement officers from border communities and any matters related thereto. This is to springboard some of my earlier comments. We have already discussed about some of the challenges facing our border communities at our recent South Texas Alliance meetings, and some of the border mayors do share the same general belief that people should go to work where they believe they will be better off financially and for their families. And with that being said, I would like to continue discussions with other agencies, both federal and state, that there are very specialized critical positions that we would like to be given a heads up about, so that we will have enough time to fill those positions. So my first motion would be to extend our communications and work collaboratively with our law enforcement partners, agencies, so we can share with them in writing some of the challenges we are seeing and will be facing as certain amounts leave the ranks due to lucrative compensation.
Second.
Motion second? Yes, go ahead.
I am grateful, Mayor, that you have brought this forward, I think, including the information about the impact of these $50,000 bonuses to our ability to retain our trained law enforcement officers is information that we should share with these agencies. You know, we here on the border see that the immigration levels have gone down. I understand that across the country, perhaps there is still a push for enforcing immigration efforts along the border, but the stated goal was to prevent criminals from entering the country, and we have seen a dramatic decrease, nearing single digits, maybe double, of people who actually cross the border, and these fears should be allayed. The push to hire rapidly 10,000, 20,000 additional ICE, Homeland Security officers, and Border Patrol agents, if not done with an understanding that the draw comes from our local law enforcement, then perhaps these agencies don't understand what could be the impact to our own public safety here in our communities. It is not to prevent law enforcement officers from looking for the best financial situation for their families, of course not. And there is no way we could mandate that, and there's also no way any city can compete with this type of federal money that's being offered to law enforcement officers. Instead, we should communicate with these agencies why we feel that public safety in our communities should continue and be supported. We understand it takes 2 years to train a police officer, and so if these incentives are given with the intent to drive many people out of our law enforcement to these other positions, there's not a way for us to fill those positions locally, and we don't want to see that impact negatively our public safety, especially as our police chief has reported these double-digit drops in theft and burglary and other indicators that show how safe we are. In order to maintain that, we need to have our trained officers continue to operate in our local communities. I think, Mayor, I think you would find support amongst other mayors whose cities are going to be in a similar situation, and perhaps there is some way for these federal agencies to mitigate what we feel could be real negative impacts to our public safety here. And I appreciate you bringing this this item up.
And we do care about our officers and their livelihood and lifestyle. We're concerned that they leave their positions for better pay. So these are the concerns we're bringing up today.
Mayor, if I may?
Go ahead.
Make a comment. First of all, thank you for bringing this item up. I think it's extremely important to do so. To work hand in hand with these other agencies, federal agencies, is extremely important because of the special training that some of our officers have. You're talking about bomb squad, you're talking about K-9 units, you're talking about traffic reconstructionists, crash reconstructionists, which takes years and years to train these people. It's not just the academy and then you're doing this. So if we could work hand in hand, if they should hire one of our officers that are specially trained, specifically in these items, to give us time to be able to try to replace them, at least 6 months to a year, because these ladies and gentlemen that are trained in these specifications, they're experts in their field, and it takes years and years to get to the point where they're at now. And to be able to replace them just takes a long time. And these federal agencies need to realize that and work with the chief of police to let them know, we're looking at these people to hire, start replacing them, or start picking somebody to start replacing them and sending them to schools. Because a lot of these positions take hundreds of hours, hundreds and hundreds of hours to get certified to be able to do these special tasks. Thank you, Mayor, for bringing it up.
Thank you. And again, as mayor and as council, I think we can do everything that we can to keep them here because this is their home, and we would like to keep these officers here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Motion and a second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item.
Mayor, I'd like to motion to approve appointments to commissions, boards, and committees, 1 and 2.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to open up public hearings, number 1.
A motion? No need a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Go ahead.
This is child's play, only one today?
It's only one today.
All right. Public Introductory Ordinance. Number 1, Public Introductory Ordinance, the City of Laredo, Texas, granting Medina Electric Cooperative, Inc., its legal representative, successor, LLCs, and assigns as the grantee herein certain powers, licenses, rights of way, privileges, and franchise to construct and maintain the City of Laredo, Texas, as now and hereafter constitute an electric power utility system in said city, and to use the bridges or structures, places, and public grounds in the city for the period of 5 years, with 1 5-year renewal period, subject to renegotiation by the parties, and prescribing certain rights, duties, terms, and conditions herein mentioned, and providing for the payment to the city a percentage of certain receipts from grantee of its operations therein, and providing for the acceptance of the ordinance by grantee and containing a savings clause, and providing for publication as an effective date.
Got it? For or against? For or against? For or against?
Motion to close and introduce.
Motion second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Council to introduce number 2, introductory ordinance.
Motion? Second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to approve final reading of ordinances 3 through 12, with the exception of number 10,
And could we accept number 6 as well?
number 6 as well. The reason for number 10 being excluded from this is that last meeting, we went ahead and denied it.
Number 6 and number 10.
Yeah.
All right,
10 is excluded, correct.
all right. We have a motion. All in favor? We have a second?
I'll second that.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Number
Number
6.
6, go ahead.
An ordinance of the City of Laredo, Texas, amending Chapter 23 Parks and Recreation, Section 23-6 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Laredo to establish the Buena Vista Sports Complex as an independent city park facility within the Parks and Rec system, providing for the adoption of a fee schedule for the complex, prohibiting fee waivers by individual city officials or council members, providing limited uses for city promotion purposes at the discretion of the city manager, providing for publication and an effective date, and providing for severability. The only addition I would like to ask that we make is that when you set up that fee schedule, which I believe you put a lot of thought into it, I have asked for some of the members of the sports sector to review it and comment on it, that we include some type of language that explains this process. And I'll just tell you very specifically with the parking lot fees, I was surprised by the amounts that were placed there. But when you clarified and explained that this is for events that are held on the actual parking lot, and that could include anything from festivals to other types of events, then it is a facility fee. And you state facility fee there, but I just hope that we can clarify how the process will be for these organizations that are attempting to use this beautiful facility, and include that with the list of amounts that you have in that schedule for fees.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, Deji Gomez, Parks Director. So, Councilwoman Cigarroa sent me an email just to clarify, because on the fee schedule, we have field rental fees, we have multi-purpose rental fees, and then we put a parking lot rental fee because, as you know, if you've been out there, it's going to be big. We're probably going to have some concerts that don't have to do anything with the sports, that they'll still want to for tailgates, concerts, Jamaicas, or whatever they want to do that we can host. Then that will be a separate fee just for the use of the parking lot. If there was to be a tournament, let's say Perfect Game were to come in and host a tournament, then they will not pay that parking fee. They were just going to pay whatever we have for if they're using one clover, the two clovers, the multi-purpose field. So I understand what you're saying. I think you saw my email, so to where we can clarify that it's not that fee plus the parking lot fee, right? So if I'm Perfect Game and I want to host a tournament, they're going to pay us, and then if they want to charge a gate later on, and that's all going to be in the contract. That will be in the contract. That will be specified, Councilwoman.
And I think some clarification also that all of the additional fees of revenue generating fees can be shared with organizations.
That's correct.
That it isn't simply that the city will acquire all of those fees,
Right.
but that there's the ability for organizations to enter into a cost sharing
Right.
or a revenue sharing
Right.
with the city.
Right, so if I can kind of give you a scenario, so let's say Perfect Game comes in, and I'm just gonna, we're gonna charge $5,000 for clover a day. A clover has 5 fields, but they're gonna use both clovers, so that's 10 fields. And they're gonna use, it's 5,000, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's 15,000. They have the right to do a tournament pass that they can get some revenue out of there. And then contractually, we say as a city, okay, we're gonna get 10%, but you're gonna keep the rest from the, so, we wanna bring them, we wanna invite them to come over, and then the concessions, of course, that will be held, that'll be run by the city. We're gonna have people running the concessions as well. So, like you said, it's a beautiful facility. This weekend, I've been around the pony games, and I mean, they're all excited because when is it coming? When is it coming? So it's coming, so just, we're gonna make sure it's done right. But there's a lot of interest already out there for this, so we're gonna make sure that we want them to come, and that's we're excited about it, and hopefully we can make it work it the right way.
Thank you,
All right.
thank you. And
Thank
with
you.
that, I'll ask to close and introduce.
Second. Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Mayor, I'd like to motion to accept the consent agenda, number 13, 14, 15, table number 16 as per staff's recommendation, approve number 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. The exception of number 36, I'd like to take that one out. Accept number 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, I'd like to take that one out as well. It's got to be voted on separately. Except number 42, 43, and 44. Exclude?
Draw out, exclude 17 and 18 for
17,
some
18,
comments,
19.
yes.
Including 17, 18, 17, 18, and 19.
17. All right, motion second, as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Number 17.
All right, we'll proceed with number 17.
A resolution of the City of Laredo, Texas, establishing a comprehensive grants management and partnership policy to establish standards for external grant applications to improve transparency, mitigate operational and fiscal risks, and ensure sustainability of grant-supported programs. And, Ms. Castillo, the policy on grant-funded projects was included with our information, and I thank you very much for that. I do have some questions to clarify, if you wouldn't mind. On the policy, position number 5, evaluation and prioritization. There is an item there that we should avoid funding competition with other city proposals. So one of the metrics to perhaps reject an application would be to avoid direct competition with other city proposals. But I would suggest that perhaps it should be determined by the relative value, so that if another proposal comes in and it has value to offer to the city, simply because it competes with a previous city proposal should not be a measure to automatically exclude it. And I was wondering if that could be looked at and allow some language so that that's not a sole metric, that we actually look at the benefit to the city and understand that sometimes organizations bring value in what they propose.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Miriam Castillo, Director for Economic Development. Yes, so this framework, it's the basic framework for how we handle grants. We can definitely look at the language for that particular section of the policy. I will say that the intention under that particular section was if the project that was being proposed equals, and it's maybe the same project that one of our internal departments is seeking, funding, and there's no room for a partnership, for a lack of a better term. That was the whole intention under that particular section. I will tell you that even though this is a framework, every possible partnership on projects that are grant funded are still gonna come to council for approval. And I will say, unless city managers has a different opinion, that in the event, sometimes we will need to treat some of these opportunities on a case-by-case basis to where what you're recommending may be the case in one of the grants.
So I bring it up because it just sounds as in this proposal that it's blanket and that it would automatically be excluded. But I just think we should allow for competitive proposals, because if they have a better value for the city, they shouldn't be automatically dismissed.
And we'll be glad to revisit on the language and check how we can modify that particular section. But yes, a lot of times, projects, even though I understand that some of the projects may vary in value, our intent is always to look for, opportunities to leverage what's out there along with city resources. And maybe we can add a section, because in the policy, actually, there's also some allowance as to city managers' approval on certain projects or proposals.
Mayor? Yes, go ahead, please.
Well, I'll cover the next ones, and then if you want to comment on.
Mayor and City Council, what I wanted to cover for sure on 17, 18, and 19 is that, and I talked about this at the last council meeting as well too, I want to put these resolutions in your hands first so that we can get this input back, and that's why I don't want to interrupt the input. But rather than to adopt these resolutions in its entirety tonight, because I want to go to their stakeholders next.
And in 17, we had a conversation with RISC because that's one of our larger partners. They asked, can we be involved in the conversation? So I would rather have the ability to take the policies out there to our stakeholders for that. We had a conversation with the PPP for our Economic Development Advisory Commission as well too. And then of course, the LEDC would like to weigh in on item 19 as one of our stakeholders and everything. So what I'm seeking from the city council tonight, I think with these resolutions is, are we in the right ballpark for this thing before I go and start conversation with the stakeholders? That's what I would like to make sure that we get there. But I didn't want to interrupt because what we really want is the input from the council on these items so that we can make it a little bit stronger with what we're trying to do.
I appreciate that. I will continue with then comments on number 6, and I think number 7 also falls into the same consideration. So I do think it's responsible to look for the cost recovery and reimbursable expenses to the city. And I understand that the city should not be shouldering extra costs for other agencies that come and ask to partner. However, if an organization is coming with a proposal that does incur costs on the city, but it fulfills a city function, something that the city, if it had more resources, would take on because whatever grant money that's coming in, it aligns with our strategic planning and with our goals in the Viva Laredo Comprehensive Plan, then I don't see as recovering all of the city expenses as being a barrier to continuing forward. So we understand that perhaps the city is not able to adopt all of this grant project because of limitations in the budget. But at the same time, simply because an organization is willing to partner with the city, we shouldn't expect that organization to take on the responsibility of what would be city maintenance and operations for a particular project. Not the entire cost, because obviously the city would be doing it, right, if we could, but it needs to be reasonable. And I know that if there's that cost recovery and reimbursable expenses at the outset, and then later on there is something that says we should ask for maintenance and operations for whatever proposal there is for a year out. But again, if this is something that aligns with our policy objectives and goals, is something that the city can reasonably take on and would take on in the future, then I think there needs to be some flexibility that recognizes that not all of the organizations that come forward to seek partnership with the city have that ability for maintenance and operations long-term.
And if I may, one of the, and you're absolutely right, I will tell you that from the Grants Division Department, one of the challenges that we do face is sometimes there are projects that completely align with the city's Viva Laredo plan. One of the challenges, that it's always two challenges. You know, some of these grants, you know, they require a matching funding source, which, you know, if it's a project that is just being proposed and it's not necessarily contemplated in the budget, that represents a challenge. And you're absolutely right on the maintenance and operations. Sometimes some of these projects, even though they do align with, you know, what we have, you as a council have adopted as a strategic plan, a lot of times the maintenance and operations for the first year, you know, we request sometimes some layaway until the city is able to add those additional maintenance and operations for big projects for the future budget.
Castillo, sorry, but I didn't hear your name and title for the record.
Miriam Castillo, Director for Economic Development.
Thank you.
So it does seem like the language in the proposal, though, creates just a stop, so that if the organization cannot meet the one-year maintenance and operation requirement, then the proposal will be rejected. And so I hope that when you're looking at language, that there is flexibility to see if there can be some cost sharing or some other way to creatively come to the same objective, which at the outset we assume to be something that the city would want to do to align with strategic objectives.
Yeah, Mayor and Council Member, I think we can actually adjust that through a may rather than a shall and such like that, because The intent is to make sure that we're looking through the overall impact of anything what we accomplish. Because if we were already doing it, we may not be doing the grant in the first place. And so the idea is that we have to absorb that within the budget, and as tight as our budget is, we want to make sure that we can bring it on the right way. The only reason we had chosen the 1 year was generally what happens is that there's a warranty period within that structure of whatever the improvements are. And so we try to match up with that 1 year. But I think the intent is that we want to make sure that we've considered whether, if it's an in-kind match, again, our money should be right in there as well too. But we should also look at that overall cost that we're taking on as we go. Do we have to hire more people to get the work, or keep the work going? Because, and this was a conversation that we had on one of the earlier grants, I would really hate to go out and improve something and then just let it fall apart again. In my mind, if we're going to take all this effort to bring things back to where they should be, then we should be able to sustain it at that point in time, and that's the intent, so.
Well, I appreciate the suggestion for the change in language.
Yeah, I think we can adjust that language to make sure that there's more avenue for the full conversation. The challenge, I think, when I look back at Laredo's history, there has been sometimes no conversation that happened with that, and that's what we're trying to help prevent.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Number 18.
17, 18, and 19.
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Mayor, so I still have issue on approving policies within this framework. I think that an overarching resolution in terms of strategic goals that we would like to accomplish is more appropriate than rather than these formal policies attached to a resolution. And I find that it will, just as we've seen with several ordinances and well, I guess policies, which that in the past that we say, oh, well, we'll continue to work through them, but yet once they're approved, it becomes much more difficult to amend, and we don't work towards a resolution that works for all. And the other inconsistency is that when it comes to administrative policies, sometimes those are within under your purview. Thank you. And yet I don't understand why this is coming to council. So it's just quite inconsistent as to.
And Mayor and council, we can do this a lot of different ways. The idea, though, is to seek the directive first. That's what the resolution is for. I would say that the policies would generally be, it would be that internal structure of how we operate. So I understand what you're asking for within the strategies, within the resolution, and then let us develop out the policy. But I do know that in our last conversation as well, too, you would like seeing what that policy, how it's being implemented as well, too. And I think that's the balancing act that we have to try to find for it. And so we're good with any direction on that. I think that we can actually go through additional conversations on this as well too, because what I really want to do is make sure that we've laid forward where we're headed before we start down that path, and then have you catch up with us as well too, because it usually doesn't work as well as we'd like it to, and I want to move a little faster with
Mayor,
this.
if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Navasor, are you asking us to approve the resolutions? Is that what you're requesting? That's what's on here, so is that?
What I would like is I would like to move this forward into our stakeholders' hands and get their input as well too, because again, the whole idea, and this goes through all the conversation that we're having, the resolution should be something that is very broad, saying this is how we're going to take the Viva Laredo plan, and this is how we're going to implement it. You know, that's what the idea of the resolution is. The reason that we're doing resolutions rather than ordinances is because you can adjust those quicker based upon what the council wishes to do. So, and I don't want you to get stuck on the policies, but I know that all of you like to be involved in some of that work as well too. So that's why those policies are attached as well too for that. But
Mayor, if I may motion to approve number 17, 18, and 19.
Okay, go ahead before we go.
Mr. Mayor, just a quick question. When you go to rate plan, how long have we updated it? Has it been updated, or is it just, how long has it been since we updated it, or? because we're following and we want to, you know, have our stakeholders on it, but I'm just wondering how updated is it? Is it
Thank you.
recent, or recently, or?
Yeah, council member, it was adopted in 2017, it was written in 2016. So comprehensive plans are usually updated about every 10 years. So we're coming into essentially the midpoint of a 20-year plan where it has to seek that. I do know that planning and zoning had been working on pieces of it, even as of a year and a half ago, because there's different pieces within there, like the thoroughfare plans and everything, that have to be updated a little more often.
But my question to you is that plan in order to what we're living right now after this 2017, this is prior to the COVID pandemic and all that? Does it, you know, do we still fit in that Viva Laredo plan, or is it something that we can change? Bring the Viva Laredo plan back up so we can start seeing it, the changes, and your vision as well. You put your input in there as well, so we can have that conversation, because, you know, we always speak about Viva Laredo, but at the same time, it's 2017. We went through a pandemic, something that we had an economic, you know, impact, in which, you know, there was a lot of impact in the whole city. So I'm just wondering, did we, you know, have you updated it, or is it something we have looked into it, or is there any changes that we can do so we can, you know, improve this, our cities?
Yeah, and council member, and I would recommend that, yeah, it needs to come back fairly soon for that, just for an update, if nothing else. I think you mentioned about COVID and everything. Laredo has changed. It's shifted a little bit with that. I think what you'll see in that comprehensive plan, though, because it involved thousands of people within the city and everything, the core values, the core pieces in that, I will say probably stand strong today. I think our priorities and our focuses have changed a little bit as to how we want to reach those adjustments. But there's a lot of great information in there. So we have not jumped into saying let's rewrite this thing, because we've still, I think, been working on trying to figure out which pieces we want to try to keep moving forward, because we have a couple different documents out there that we're working on heavily on, and Recode Laredo. That's a big one for the planning and zoning side as well too. There's a lot of different pieces that are in the state of completion. And then, but I would say that this is probably going to be one of the things that you would tackle within the next year or so, will be the amendment or the updating of what that Viva Laredo plan is. But it's got a spirit and it's got some action in it. It's got two different pieces in it. I think it's just recognizing what those do.
Mayor May?
Yes, go ahead.
If I could, Councilmember Gutierrez, amend it to just focus on number 17, because I do have comments for 18, and I believe Councilmember Alyssa Cigarro has comments for number 19. If we could just stick with number 17.
I'll retract and just go and ask for the motion to be accepted, number 17.
And then if I could get a clarification, if it's a resolution, does that language still allow for the development of the policy, or should we change it to be a directive to establish this comprehensive grants management partnership that allows changes to this policy that has been presented to us?
Either way we work, if you're allowing it, then the city manager will bring it back. If he's directing something, then that's your direction.
Yeah, and Mayor and Council, we intend to share the policies with all of you, and if there is an issue within what we've envisioned to try to get done based upon these conversations, again, we will move it forward a little differently, but.
Go ahead, Councilman.
May I suggest for, well, really all three of them, that we approve an overarching resolution without the policy per se is attached to them, and those will be coming back after your.
I am comfortable with that as well too, and I think that's one of the conversations we had at one of the previous council meetings too. So approve the resolution without the policy, allow me to take the policies forward to our stakeholders, and then we'll bring that back and we'll finish the resolution at that
Mayor,
time.
if I may, Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Just a clarification there. When we bring back the resolution, you're bringing back the policy, we need to approve it regardless. Is it not? So either we approve it now, or we approve it then. If we have issues with it then we can go ahead and amend it then. Correct? All right. I stand on my motion to approve number 17.
I just want to kind of tighten it up, because I think in a synopsis way, we need to basically, we're saying we don't want so much in there that we paint ourselves into a corner, right? But we also want it malleable enough to be change-friendly. Is that what we're saying?
Yes, exactly.
And that by the time it comes back to us, that it's readily approved so that all these things are taken into consideration.
Exactly.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Motion is second.
You have a motion?
And a second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
We're on number
Mayor,
18.
Can I interject, Mayor? I'd actually like to make a motion to bring up my item. I have some people here for my item, and I don't want them to have to listen to us.
Which
going
item
back
is
and
it?
forth about resolution. Item 50,
I'll second
if I
the
can
motion.
bring that one up real quick.
Item 15. Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 50.
Discussion with possible action to create and dedicate an arch entrance with a memory garden at Father Magnable Park in honor of Griselda and Dominic Hernandez and any other matters incident thereto. We have the family, Mayor, if I may call
Yes.
up Angelica Hernandez, please, and whoever else you want to bring. I know we have Miss Mary Hernandez as well, the mother, and Jaden Garcia, who's also Griselda's son, if they can come up.
May I approach?
Yes.
Yes, and name and for the record, please.
Angelica Hernandez,
Okay.
citizen of Laredo.
Go ahead.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for the time to see me. My name is Angelica Hernandez. I come before you today as a long-standing member of the Laredo community, specifically to District 7, Precinct 4, and is a sister of Griselda Hernandez and Dominic Alexander Hernandez, two beloved members of our family whose lives were tragically taken on April 9, 2018. At this moment, we're respectfully requesting permission to create a space of healing remembrance at the Father Magnable Park near Bristol Road entrance, the last known location of Griselda and Dominic where they were seen. Our proposal includes the installation of an entrance at the entrance, an arch reading Griselda and Dominic Peace Trails. That is the proposal that may be changed, and the development of a peace garden featuring native plants, seating, symbolic elements to promote reflection, resilience, and unity. While this space holds deep personal meaning to our family, we believe it will also serve as a broader element to our community, not only as a place of healing and remembrance, but as a celebration of Griselda and Dominic's lives, and the joy that they brought to our family, love, and light to those around them. It will stand as a symbol of unity and hope, and as a reminder of strength that we find in the unity of the community coming together. This initiative is deeply personal to us, but it is also intended to serve a wider initiative to our community, a quiet place to find comfort and peace. We are committed to working in partnership with the city staff, park committees, community members to ensure that the project aligns with the public standards and the shared values. Thank you for your time, compassion, and consideration.
Thank you very much.
Did
I'm
you,
open to questions if you.
does anybody have a question?
Go ahead, Councilman.
I just want to thank Councilman Perez for bringing this item up. Regardless of the tragedy and the circumstance, I want to tell you all that peace will always prevail evil. Thank you.
Mayor, I've got a question.
Go ahead.
The dedication of the actual arch, is this going to be under Father Magnable Park arch, or is this going to be in another place?
So, the end of Bristol, where the street finishes, it meets Father Magnable Park. The whole area from there, even a little bit further south, all the way to Father Magnable, where that arch is on the other side, all that is Father Magnable Park. What we're proposing is that at the end of Bristol, we may have an arch there that might read something around the lines to Griselda and Dominic Peace Trails. That is what the family has, agreed on. That may, I am willing to work with any of you guys if you guys needed to read a different terminology, verbiage. I mean, that's always workable.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
This is to city management, and I'm very sorry for your loss. And I agree with Councilmember Gonzalez that peace will come. Even time heals all wounds, as slow and painful as it is. and my sympathies to you and your family. Mr. Neb, is there, does the naming committee undertake this? If this isn't just the name, this is also a little bit more of development of this idea and fleshing out some of the details. Is this something that would occur in the naming committee, or is this more directed towards park staff?
Yeah, Mayor and City Council, I think to answer the council member's question, I believe it would go more toward the Parks Department, not to the naming committee. The naming committee, its sole thing is to review different types of names that we can name things after. I think in this case, we're talking about the development of a memory garden, the maintenance, the care of all of that area with an arch. And so I would direct it right into the staff in order to look at that. We can talk about the layout, we can talk about creating the budget, we can talk about creating all those different pieces for them.
And Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
would the funding come from priority funds? Is that the intent, or is this more of a city request just to establish kind of the precedent for that?
I guess the way I see this is to build this out and such, because the family's asking for a memory garden, not just for their loved one, but one that can be enjoyed by the community as a whole. So I see this a little bit bigger. I see additional memories going into this area as well too. Unless I'm, yeah.
And if I may, when Mr. Alkit was one of our council members, he began this way back then. Where this happened, it was a off-roading bike trail. So you could be on that road, but it was very rough terrain. It was rocky, bike suitable. He then developed pavement. So now you can go in your bikes with children. Now they can access that area. Even Border Patrol vehicles, sometimes use that road to access deeper roads into the woods. So that's developed. My family, my brothers, my father, so my sister's last breaths and Dominic's were that trail, one to the north side and one to the left side, right adjacent to each other. I want to say about 30 feet away from each other. So right where my sister's site is at, it's a cleaned off area. It's pretty much from that wall to this side, all that within the woods. My father cleaned that himself, all that area surrounding, to open it up, and also the adjacent side. Apologize. So that area is already clean and it's kept up by the family. And needless to say, my father has become ill chronically, and he can no longer maintain that area. And Mr. Algate had also put some huge sandstones around like the U shape on both areas. So it's already semi-developed. It just needs, what we're asking is native plants and maybe city upkeep that's more routinely. Maybe when the park is kept up to this site, that they keep up that area as well. Me and my family do go out there whenever we can. We all, my brothers, we have children, so we'll go out there and try to keep up with the area. So it's kind of semi-developed. It would just be something a little bit more formal that we'd be asking for.
Mayor, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Just, out of respect for the request and for the family, and with consideration to the fact that this is kind of a project that has been in the works for a while, it does require council approval for the naming and the approval of the trails and the installation. So that's what I was asking council for as far as funding. Yes, there's monies in District 7 priority funds, so that's taken care of. The family's working on donating the arts. It's something personal that they wanted to work on, and as far as replacing any existing arch, it's not going to. There's nothing there right now. We made the dog park recently. That was an area of the park that had not really been utilized. So this was just kind of expanding the park further out this way. I wanted to see if anybody else in the family wanted to comment or make any comments or statements on the item. It's not necessary. I think that this is an initiative to remember them and to kind of make it a little bit more permanent because there already is some improvements there. We just want to enhance it and work with the family on that. So I don't know if Coach wants to make a comment, but I'd like to make a motion for council to approve the naming and the arch installation, to name it the Griselda and Dominic Peace Trails.
Second for discussion.
Second, go ahead, Councilman.
Mayor, I'm sorry, I just need to call him up right quick, Mr. Gomez. If you can, as soon as I heard about this, it just brought me back to Kaiser Memorial.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Out there with
That's
Teresa.
what I'm gonna say.
I'd love for the family to go out there, in case you all haven't been out there. to
Exactly
look
what
at
I'm
that
gonna
part of the soccer complex. We have a beautiful memorial there for Carissa Kaiser. And it's a gorgeous one, and Parks has really, really come up with great ideas when it comes to. I'd like for y'all to see that. I'd love to meet y'all out there, so you can get ideas, right, and then go from there, because Parks and Rec Department really take care of that area. And I think it's a beautiful way to memorialize, you know, the loss that we've lost. And it's a great idea. I think it functions really well. It's visited by thousands of people every single year. I think you get a really good idea from there.
Mayor, Council, that's exactly why I came up here. It's very similar to what we have at Bartlett, the Kaiser, Krista Kaiser, with little memorial benches, and then right behind there's a pond with an arch that was developed by the family. And we maintain it, and the family also goes every once in a while to maintain it as well. But we put it in our routine, and it's really nice, like the councilman says, real nice and peaceful, that's always visited by people every day. So we'll be more than glad to visit with you and sit down and come up with a plan and come up with design. It is already, where she's mentioned, it's already clear, it's a dirt, it's literally maybe like 50, 75 feet from the river, is that correct, right, where he's talking about? Right. So it's already, it's accessible, and there's a lot of people now walking and biking and all that through there, so it's gonna be visible. You will not be able to visit, you cannot see it if you're at the actual Father Magnable Park, but if you walk down the trail towards the south, you will actually run into that area that she's talking about.
Mr. Gomez, please, the name for the record.
I'm sorry, J.J. Gomez, Parks Director.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes, go ahead.
I'd just like to request that we not move any dirt or disrupt the area without the family being present, just for, reasons. Yes? Was there any other comment, Angelica, that you want to say?
No, we pretty much covered everything. I did want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to me and to my family and the community, and I do mean that it means a lot to the community. We're there when we go visit, and we will have people just come tap our shoulders and just not say nothing and tell us that they're there for us. So I know the unity, of this will mean a whole lot to everybody.
Thank you.
And I'm readily available to meet with you or with anybody to coordinate.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Mayor, motion to bring back number
Thank
18 on the
you.
consent agenda.
Motion from number 18 on the consent agenda.
18,
Any
a
second?
oh, I'm sorry.
Are you gonna add?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Laredo, Texas, adopting the City of Laredo Public-Private Partnership Policy pursuant to the authority granted under chapters 2267 and 271 of the Texas Local Government Code, establishing a framework for leveraging private investment in city facilities and services and providing for an effective date. And once again, in reviewing the policy that was attached, I did have just a couple of comments.
All right, do we have a motion for your?
That's 18, Mayor.
That's the
Yes,
same one,
we
okay.
did, yes.
Go ahead,
Yes,
proceed,
thank
please.
you, thank you. And I'm assuming that we've established that this is the form for you to receive these comments. So under general provisions, which is number 3, there is a requirement that the private entity that's coming forward for this proposal would have to anticipate and provide written comment about anticipated public support or opposition and share that with the city as part of their proposal. And I find that requirement less than helpful, because I would assume that if they're coming forward, they assume there's a lot of public support, and for them to be responsible for identifying the opposition, it's just trying to cast this political narrative on what is supposed to be an economic development project. And so I think it unnecessarily tries to develop a political framework for it. And so I would ask that that be removed. I don't think that that helps determine whether it's going to be a valuable project for the city in terms of its economic development impact, or the requirement for the city to see if it is something that holds value in moving forward strategic partnership and strategic objectives. So that's one. Under policy principles, which is the next item in this overall policy, there's an item on transparency and accountability. And it says all of these proposals, these public-private partnership proposals, should require competitive processes, an RFI, an RFP, or an RFQ, request for proposal, or request for information, or request for qualifications. And I am curious if, because one entity is coming forward with the proposal for the PPP, if that means that they then need to put themselves up for a competitive process, so that we're asking other institutions if they want to compete for something that an organization has brought forward. I understand when it's an initiative by the city, and the city has a strategic objective it intends to meet, then you are going to ask for a wide array of organizations to come in and share their ideas and then be able to compete. If it comes from the outside and it's an organization that is coming forward with their particular strategic objective, which they feel aligns with the strategic goals of the city, why do they need to open themselves up to an RFP or an RFQ process? Their value to the city should be able to be determined by the departments in management and not entail a lengthy process that then asks for their idea to be shared amongst the general public. And then it enters into a different kind of proposal.
Correct. Good evening, Mayor, Council, Miriam Castillo, Director for Economic Development. I guess I understand completely the two separate types of proposals that we may get. And I think to begin with, I think we can definitely go back and revisit on the language, but I will tell you there's two separate types of PPPs that a city could consider. If it's city initiated, that's when the RFP and the request for qualifications, it just opens up in a project that the city feels that we need to open it up for a project that aligns with the strategic plan or not. On the other type of, proposal, and I think this goes back to section number 3 that you were also mentioning on the public need. Just like the previous policy that we were discussing, there will need to be some sort of an alignment. And maybe that's something that we need to reward on the public need, and maybe reward it to where it aligns with the City of Laredo's, strategic plan or goals, just to make sure that we cover that and not necessarily addressing 100% just the public need, but the goals and the strategies of the city. In terms of the, guidelines for the type of projects, we can check on in working with the departments and city manager's office, and with us checking some of the policies that other cities adopt. Those, that's the framework that we could put together for the resolution. I guess at this time, I will tell you, there's many different types of projects and many different types of proposals that we may get. And it's just like the previous resolution. I think on a lot of this, it's going to be treated on a case-by-case basis. I understand the concern as to if there's a particular developer or interested party that is approaching the city and laying down, their own vision for their project and their investment. We will still need to evaluate on how it aligns with the city's priorities. But again, like Mr. Neff mentioned, I think this is worth taking back to, the committees and the stakeholders to make sure that the language is something that truly, demonstrates the ultimate goal of the city with this policy.
I appreciate that very much. I know that we have Mr. Stedman here. I don't know if he had anything to offer to this conversation as far as a stakeholder view of where the city is going and developing these policy proposals.
Well, thank you, Councilwoman, for mentioning it.
Come on can you come up to the podium, please?
Are you forcing them to go?
Name for the record, please.
Well, thank you very much. For the record, David Stedman, CEO of the Laredo Economic Development Corporation. And let me just say that this is a great conversation to have, and these are all important issues for consideration. I guess with respect to that, I would just echo what City Manager Knapp was saying about the value of private stakeholders' input, and thank you for bringing that up. And I know that our board members, will all, kind of appreciate that, and we'd love to be constructive members of that conversation. With respect to Councilman Rangel's point about the 2017 Viva Laredo plan, I think we could probably all agree that, it was proposed, as you said, under completely different circumstances. And although there are parts of it that are very applicable today, there are many parts of it that are not. From our own perspective, there's a lot that wasn't considered in 2017, maybe that even should have been, even back then. So I think a number of members of council are aware that the LEDC is hoping to sponsor or to help facilitate, if you will, a new strategic planning process that would include the city. Miriam and I have discussed it on a number of occasions. We've spoken with city managers about it. And I'm happy to report that our strategic planning committee has unanimously approved putting out an RFP for that. And that would include all stakeholders, so certainly the city, county, community organizations, the CVB, chamber, would all have input into that process. So I think that is something that could be used as an updating. And with specific reference to public-private partnerships, let me just say that we definitely support them. There are instances in which they are really vital to economic development. We, of course, would, love to be part of that overall conversation as with respect to the other things. Under Governor Perry, public-private partnerships became an important part of the state's economic development initiatives. And I think it's clear that Texas emerged as the leader in national economic development under Rick Perry's governorship. And some of the people that were working in the Office of the Governor for Economic Development at that time are now leaders in various respects under it. Public-private partnerships definitely work. They're not as much under favor under the Abbott administration, but I still think it's a great way to encourage private sector participation along with public sector dollars. And with respect to the initiatives now, with respect to the constraints on the city's budget, in the light of the bond election, I think getting private sector involvement is a means of reducing potentially the amount of public sector funds that might be necessary to accomplish projects. So we are in support of public-private partnerships in general. Of course, each one has to be viewed on its own merits, But, you know, in general, we find it to be a very useful process. But thank you for asking for my opinion, and but
Thank you. And Mayor, if I could continue, just to respond to
Sure.
Mr. Stegman. And the item brought up about revisiting the Viva Laredo Comprehensive Plan, I do believe that comprehensive plans are reviewed every 5 to 10 years as a matter of good governance. And so, yes, it is renewing that process and looking at it again, but it is not to embark on a completely different path. It is to review the plan, see where the successes have been, and let people know those successful initiatives, to show them the power of strategic planning. And like every city, we grow in different directions. So there are things that we need to adjust and different paths that we've taken just because of history, and show how we can meet the moment and how we bring it all together to go forward in a new direction. But I appreciate the fact that the city's been working on delivering that, reviewing this comprehensive plan that we must to have good governance of our city, so that we can look to the future. And thank you, Councilmember Rangel, for putting special emphasis on that.
All right, any other questions? No? Thank you.
With that, I'll move to close and introduce this resolution to be taken with the same directive as the previous.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
Motion to approve number 19 as well.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
Mayor, number 36. Yes.
Go ahead.
Chief Rodriguez, I've got a few questions on this one in particular. Mentions here 2 complete EOD 10E bomb suits for the Laredo Police Department Bomb Squad unit. Bomb Squad specialists in the Laredo Police Department, how many do we have?
We used to have a total of 5. Now we have 2, and they're already on the verge of retirement at this point. Chief Rodriguez, for the record. Police Chief?
Yes. Great. I'm sorry, thank you. So we're down to 2 specialists now.
Yes.
And those individuals, I'm sorry, who are they? What are their names?
Jerry Morales and Mark Rodriguez.
Okay, I know them both. I wasn't aware they were still there, but that's great. How long does it take to train a bomb tech,
So,
police officer?
just recently, within my administration, we reduced the amount of years that is required of you to be in service, to be at 3 years of Laredo Police service, taking away the cadet and taking away the probation. So that those 3 years, plus, once you make the selection, is based on performance from the officer. And when that selection is made, they're sent to Huntsville, Alabama, where they are trained by the FBI for 6 weeks. After those 6 weeks, they come back and they have to recertify every year until they get to that expertise where they can handle any bomb situation, right? So it takes approximately 2 to 3 years to get them to the subject matter expert when we're talking about a bomb technician. Putting them in motion, this requires also not only the tools, but also continuous training. And this is why we sometimes sign up when you see a request through management, where we sign up for to be in special operations in San Antonio, so that they make sure that they get that experience as well when they're deployed there. But more than anything is to be ready. That's bottom line, we have to be ready.
Chief, and
We
the
have
3
to-
officers that were there as bomb squad specialists, did they retire? Did they go to another department? And I'm asking because this has come up over and over again.
Yeah, so all 3 retired. All of them retired.
And these gentlemen now, I know one of them has over 25 years now, so,
Yes.
and the other one approximately?
It's about 23 years, the other one.
So they're looking at retirement pretty soon already
Yes.
also. And are you looking at replacing these gentlemen already, or these ladies, well, women or men?
Well, for the size of our department, we should have approximately 6 to 7 bomb technicians ready, right? And there's these bomb technicians, right, to be able to deploy them whenever. Because again, we've had 5 in the past, but we've grown, right? And so this is why we're prepared for what's coming, which is we're supposed to be around that many bomb technicians.
Okay. Motion to approve. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Chief, quick question, and it's, I guess this is a question that many people are gonna ask, and something that I'm just asking is, out of those five, or, I know when right now you just have two and they're planning to retire, my question to you is, and I hope we never use them, but how often do you get calls of bomb threats of using these uniforms? Hopefully they were not to be used, right? Because we always just want to be prepared. But the question, and we're gonna see it everywhere, is like, how often do you get bomb threats? And that we don't know, sometimes we get alerted, but sometimes we don't know, the public doesn't know, because that's something, we're blessed to have a, good force on our side that protects the community. But how often do you get, those calls and, to be prepared? Because they're gonna say, well, you're spending the money on these suits, and there's never a bomb threat, it's just a bomb threat. We're fortunate enough just to be a bomb threat, right? But it's scary, but at the same time, we wanna know, how often do you, I'm not saying how often they're being used, but how often do you prepare, or do you go out there, or how many bomb threats do we get a year?
Well, I always say this, right? We have to prepare for the impossible to become possible, right? And so, when we're talking about bomb threats, we just had one last week here at the county courthouse, right? And the dog, the canine from the sheriff's department alerted to the bomb, to a bag that apparently had a bomb, right? So we deployed our bomb technicians, and they were able to inspect it, and then came back, and it was not a bomb, right? But it alerted to a device. So again, we just had one last week. We also get calls when we do search warrants where they found grenades and things like that. Those we cannot touch. And so we have to send a bomb technician to make sure that we make him safe before we even take him out or seize him, right? And so those things, we have to make sure that we always have them available because it's not only, for us, it's not, to be prepared, but also to make sure that when we are engaging in those type of actions where we do court-authorized documents in a home, and that we find a device that we don't know what to expect from it, we have to send those bomb technicians. We cannot let our officers,
So those calls are every what? I'm just rough, I'm not trying to say specific, just like an average, court.
We have, I can get you a more accurate number, but I can tell you that throughout the year, we have somewhere between, 20 to 25 calls that are being handled by the bomb technicians.
That's a lot.
But remember, it doesn't have to necessarily be a bomb.
No.
Right, it can be many things.
Yeah.
And so, for us, this is grant money from Homeland Security. And I'll tell you, right, we also have to be prepared for our bridges, right? There's things that we have to be prepared for, because if there is a call of a bomb in the bridge, we respond, right? And a lot of people have the misconception that, the feds are gonna respond. Well, we respond, and then the feds come in, right? And because the bomb technicians are here, right? So we have to be ready, available for that. And not only that, but our bomb technicians, because they're certified by the FBI and the ATF, we also have to make sure that we service our region, right? Which is Ensenada, Freer, all of Webb County, Zapata, anything that's near of us, we have to service that area.
So you're saying if there's a bomb threat in El Cernizo, Rio Bravo,
Yes, sir.
Zapata, they call Laredo PD to go respond. So it's what, the 100 and the area of what, 50 miles, 30, 40, 50 miles?
Yeah,
That's
you
what
could
call
say
it.
anything halfway through, like if.
So in other words, we're the specialists around the whole South Texas.
Yeah, we're the biggest department in this area, so after San Antonio, they'll take care of that. But I mean, we have to respond even to Hebronville, because of the grant, the way it's written, and why we're given this training by the federal government. This is why we need to.
See, those are things that the community needs to know, that it's not only we service the community of Laredo, excuse me, not only the service of the city of Laredo, but it's also the surrounding smaller cities within our county, and which is, the outer cities, which is Hebron, Zapata, Ensenada. So we service those with the bomb suits and the equipment. So thank you so much for their service, and thank you so much for looking out for that. It's just something that we need to clarify. So, because they're always going to say, oh, when is there a bomb threat? Well, it's better to be prepared and not use it than need it and not have it, right?
And we always get that, Councilman. I mean, when we're talking about even active shooters, right? It's how are you preparing your SWAT team to be this, to be that, right? Well, let's look at Uvalde, right? Let's look at those little towns that were hit by an active shooter, and the things that happen in that city, even right now, it's things that you just can never, be prepared enough to counter, right?
Well, the last time that, we had a call and I was there, I was just visiting the areas, just the times I came in, I was witness of, can't remember the acronym for your video room you have when that happened in Alexander, congratulations, the response time was fast, how I got to see, live action at the moment that I was visiting your facilities. And that's what was going on at the time. So for me, it was like something impressive, so that you never get to see. So I got to see it. So congratulations on that as well.
Thank you, Council. And just, I wanted to correct something on my previous statement, Mayor and Council. I know we said 6 homicides. There is one that where it was an altercation, and both of them were gang members. And so there was 1 out of the 6. Just wanted to correct on that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, can I just ask one more question, Mr. Rodriguez?
Go ahead.
Chief, it's important also to clarify the difference between when you're putting all these things in order, but the difference is really when you have a suicide and a homicide.
Correct.
And so you're only basing yourself strictly on homicides right now,
Yes.
right? Is that correct?
Yeah, right now strictly homicides. Suicides, we're at number 10 this year.
Okay, very good.
Motion to approve.
All right, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Chief.
Mayor, item number 41 needs to be voted on separately.
Motion passes. Okay, go ahead.
Number 41, submission of the 2025 certified appraisal roll from the Webb County Appraisal District for the development of the city tax roll. Acceptance of the tax rate calculation workshops for the no new revenue tax rate and voter approval tax rate for tax year 2025. Recommended to propose a tax rate of .506090 per $100 of value. Setting a date for special city council meeting for the public hearing and introductory ordinance of the proposed tax rate. The meeting must be held on September 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th of 2025.
So moved.
All right, motion second.
Do we want to, before we vote on, do we want to hold on a meeting, a date for the meeting?
Do we need to determine that?
If we're able to. I think that'd be best to do that.
Let's see, we have a comment there.
Good evening, Mayor,
Evening.
council members. Dora Maldonado. Yes, sir?
Yes, go ahead.
No, I don't know. I thought you had a
The
question.
way I read it, it sounds like we need to pick a date now.
Yes, well, not right now.
Okay.
But eventually, I understand Ms. Karen will be calling to get together with you on what date that will be.
I'll just ask staff then to poll us, see when we're available for the meetings. Either one of the dates, 9th, 10th, 12th.
Mayor and City Council, I think it has to be done that week, and that's why we've given those dates. So by the end of the week, we have to be done with this work.
If you just poll us, please let us know.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
All right, have
appreciate
a
it.
second, did you have a comment?
No, so it was amended.
Okay, second.
Can we just make it a point not to have it at 911? And just eliminate that date period.
Not 911, September 11th.
Oh.
Not on 9/11. Here you go. There you go. Perfect.
All right.
Mayor,
Thank you.
the other day, she needs to record the votes. We just need to make sure Dr. King is online.
Dr.
also
King is
to vote.
online, yes.
Is he online?
Yes.
Dr. King, are you
Point of
there?
order, Mayor, is.
Yes,
Dr. King-
hello, I'm here.
I'm sorry, Mr. King.
Go ahead.
Is he allowed to vote, even though, I'm just something I don't know, I'm asking.
So, let's see what song this.
Yes, in order to have a quorum, you have to have 5 physically here, otherwise they can participate and vote.
All right.
Okay.
All right, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes.
Sorry, Dr. King.
Okay.
A roll call vote, please.
Okay, 4.
4.
4.
Mayor Pro Tem?
4.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Unanimous, thank you.
Motion
All right.
passes.
Thank you.
Motion passes, Mayor.
All right.
Okay, motion
Next.
to open up staff reports, please, number 45.
4:45. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passed.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, citizen of Jose
Evening.
Maria Laredo Bridge System. Just bringing you a status report in reference to, the Laredo Bridge system on the development of an improved method for handling turnarounds from insufficient fees at World Trade Bridge. It was brought, by Mayor Pro Tem, Perez back in June 16, just bringing you a report. We did go, out to, set up the auto replenish threshold for commercial accounts for $100 for your bridge for only commercial accounts in order not to, go under the $100 threshold. And this will reduce the wait time for commercial traffic and avoid U-turns for trucks with insufficient funds. So we went out, we started with this process on July 30th at 6 a.m. With this automatic replenish. We had a couple of hiccups. I want to give props to our IT department. We've been working very closely with IT and also our toll vendor system in order to do this process. And I'm glad IT brought on June 16th an item where you all had an item for using credit cards and debit cards for the whole state of Laredo. I know there's different departments and using different softwares, different domains, especially the bridge system. So we've met a couple of times with IT, and they've been on the background working with the toll system vendor to address this. So, like we mentioned, Mayor Pro Tem, on July 30th, we went and to start the programming for the auto replenish of the $100, so the balance won't go under that for only commercial accounts. I had told you 2 weeks, to finalize the application itself. We did, but when we met with IT and the toll system vendor, they've been trying to help us out for only the commercial accounts to do the automatic replenish for $100. We started on July 30th. We went into some reprogramming issues where we had to stop the process because it was affecting some of the accounts that had over that amount. They didn't separate the process not to affect accounts with $200, $300, or $100. So we've been working with IT. We decided for now to stall. They give us 2 weeks to reprogram the process and make it work because on their end, which is called their data applications, they had to find a solution in order not to affect those commercial accounts that have more than the $100. So it was just a hiccup that we have within the program. So the toll system vendor said, give me 2 weeks to fix the issue and only have those accounts under the $100 balance to auto replenish. So they're gonna work with us. We've been, again, talking to IT, having a couple of meetings. We're gonna meet again to resolve the issue with the toll system vendor in order only to affect those accounts for commercial that go under the $100 threshold.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Just to clarify, so what, they were just adding $100 to every single account or what?
They were reducing those, let's say there were commercial accounts with $200, $300, $500, $600. They were being reduced to $100. It was like a glitch with the system, so the toll vendor system is working with IT just to separate those account holders that do have the monies in their accounts. So it's something to do with the data applications that on their back end with the toll system vendor, they have to look into it. They told us, give me 2 weeks to fix the problem in order to start the programming.
Can this toll vendor handle this kind of request?
Oh, yes.
Can I, good evening, Mayor,
Good
City
evening.
Council. Joe Rivera, IT Director for the record. So the statement of work that we provided, Transcore, our bridge software vendor, was to add to any account, again, the replenish was to add to any account that was under $100 to bring them up by programmatically up to the $100. So that went well insofar as that function. What occurred and what I guess Transcore did not understand is we were not to touch any account other than the ones that were below that threshold. What ended up happening is that their programming actually ended up touching accounts that were above the threshold. So let's, for example, say someone had $500 in their account. They went and programmatically reduced that to $100, which was an unintended consequence. Like I said, it's not something we had asked for. So we decided to turn off the function because it was affecting all those other accounts that we did not intend to touch. Transcore is back on with their programmers to adjust the programming. They have asked us for 2 weeks to have the programming reconfigured so it does exactly what we want. Again, bring accounts up to the threshold, but do not touch anything that's above the threshold. So that's where we're at right now.
Yes, go ahead.
So they refunded people's accounts, basically? And then was there was there like a charge that they charged us in order to incorporate that?
Well, we did, if it triggered any NSF insufficient funding, those were voided, because they're not at fault. Since we're trying to follow up with this program and implement it, and, I believe it was done halfway a year ago, so we're trying to implement it and not to affect those that have the balances, so we did not charge the NSF fee, we voided that. So that's why we stalled the project, because we saw that on the toll system vendor, we saw that they didn't have the rate programming to where, it didn't affect those clients that had the monies there. So that's why we had to stall the program, to make sure the toll system vendor had all the Ts, you know, and only affect those that didn't have the monies and do the auto replenish. What IT and the toll system vendor were able to help us, if it would take an hour or 45 minutes to auto replenish, it was gonna take now 2 to 3 minutes. So they were able to lessen the time, you know, for the monies to be auto replenished, but they didn't take into account that it would affect those that did have the monies. So on their end, I believe they have to separate the accounts that have the money, so they won't be affected.
Mayor, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
You said 200 minutes to?
No, 2 to 3 minutes.
Oh, 2 to 3
Yes,
minutes,
I'm sorry.
okay.
It would take 45 minutes to an hour to do an auto replenish for those that didn't have the $100 threshold. Now, it was only gonna take 2 to 3 minutes.
So now all the accounts are gonna have $100 in there, and then if they drop below 100, it's gonna auto replenish them to 100.
Faster.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're working on their end, the toll vendor system, to separate those accounts, so it won't hurt those accounts that have the monies.
Great job, thank you, guys.
All right. Very good, thank you.
Mayor, number 46.
46, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council and Management. We're here to provide a report for the bulky item from July 16, 2025. And right now, we'll place our presentation. The presentation, you also have a hard copy of it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
With the presentation, you have a hard copy, and also you have some attachments at the end, which goes with the presentation, so if you're not able to see it here, you will have the hard copy to understand the presentation. On the request from Councilmember Rangel, it was in relation to the apartments, but working on the ordinance section, chapter 14, section 14-4, actually includes all the information for residential apartments and businesses. So it applies to all. So here is actually itemized, shortly and brief, but if we go to the collection service for a fee, you have a copy in your packet, which is already in English and Spanish, and we summarized it. On this, it's going to also be shared, and you know, we're already transmitting all this via TV, radio, television. We're already promoting all this stuff, and all this information also is going to be promoted internally with our Department of Public Access, DIO, and our websites and the city website. Okay, so this is in reference to the fees. So this is our community outreach. We already have it in the newspaper 3 times a week. We already went to live interviews, and we already have audio spots promoting our affordable bulky services. We also have it on the TV screens at Danny's La Carreta La Roca. Right now, we're in the process of getting the TV interviews. Our social media, we already have it on our page of Facebook and also YouTube. We're also already ready to be printing the door hangers directly to target hotspot areas. And I know Councilmember Garza has requested that. So we'll have a plan going for volunteers and also on our events, coming events for our parks and recreation. We'll have our staff passing flyers with all the information of the services that we provide. Also, on the flyers, we'll use it for holidays, collection services, free fee, and all that information is to be passed on the events. And here we'll mention also internally how the city facilitates the process with our city website, our solid waste website, public information, public access. Also, with the information that you have, you're welcome if you want to do your PSAs, the mayor, citywide, or by districts. We can focus on the areas where you have your hotspots. We can actually get some information, which the drivers, we already met with the drivers also. All this information was already facilitated to them. And they're gonna help us report all those hot areas with reports. This is how it's gonna be, it's already promoting on our restaurants, on the places mentioned, La Carreta and all this. It's already playing all day in English and in Spanish, okay? So this is the hangers that we already also have that we'll be printing next week, no later than next week, to have, if you require for your hotspot areas, we can actually work with our volunteers to deliver this hangers. It's also in English and Spanish. This is what our drivers already have. If they have a question, they don't have to call directly to 311 or ourselves. If it's a question, if they want the service, if they want a free quote, they have to go to 311 or phone number 796-1098. But we just need to remember that the first item is $15, the second is $10, and then after the third one, everything is $5. And we're already actually promoting on the radio our Labor Day flyer. And if you see at the end, you see that our radio spot is also promoting the 2 free bulky pickups per year, which is one in March and one in October, which is the spring and fall, and the year around bulky item services. Okay, it's already there. And also, this is actually our mission, and you know that we're working with police and code enforcement. Now, no more leaving large items on the streets, and our partnership to monitor and enforce our in compliance with our ordinance. The weekly reports from illegal dumping hotspots will be provided to code enforcement and police department to address all these problem areas. And here, actually, our drivers are the ones that are gonna give us that information so that we can provide to these departments. The collaboration effort is to ensure that we remain clean and prevent residents and apartments and businesses to leave bulky waste or debris outside the properties. Community development and police is free. The motto that we're using right now is the street free of nuisance items to avoid fines and citations. On this, we assisting by outreach and education campaign using our newspaper, radio, television, and our internal social medias here within the city of Laredo. And the solid waste will the service available for the public for an affordable fee. And if they're not able to afford the fee, because we sometimes have those questions, well, we have the 2 free bulky items, one in the spring, one in the fall. And also Saturdays, if they do the self-hauling, it's free for them, as long as they can provide their ID and they reside in the city of Laredo. Working together, we're trying to convey the same information for the 3 departments. And we already met with the Chief Rene Alvarado and Chief Gonzalez. And also we already talked to community development and all this information. We're receiving the same information, the same flyers and everything that we're doing. So I don't know if you have any questions.
Mayor?
All the packets are complete.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. It seems very comprehensive, and I know everybody shared their concerns about the amount of trash that we see on the side of the streets in our districts. We had discussed or mentioned, I think the last time, about if there would be any way to enforce for particular apartment complexes and place the burden on the owners of those properties.
Yes.
Were you able to find anything in the existing ordinance?
There's in the ordinance, I'm sorry, Councilmember, there's in the ordinance, that it depends, right, on the billing. If the apartments have their own meter, it's considered residential, so the one responsible is the tenant. If the apartment, it's the property owner covers the water bill, then it's the owner, the one responsible. Based on the ordinance, if they have more than 3 warnings or citations, it's the responsibility of the property owner to place a camera, okay? To place a camera, and it's part of the ordinance. I don't know if we have a copy of that, and I didn't include it in here. It's part of the ordinance, is the property owner is responsible to place a camera. Because if
After-
not, at the property. where
But
they-
I'm sorry, you said after 3 warnings or citations?
Warning or citations. Yes,
Okay.
it's already in the ordinance. It's on the section 4.3, which it was not included, but it says that it's responsible to prevent illegal dumping on the property. It's on the owner's control, and they're supposed to place a camera.
Mayor, if I may?
Go ahead.
So when they come out, when they go and ask for the water meter, or, because majority of the properties, they use the same water meter, or is it different? Or is it, it depends, in every apartment,
Yes.
some pay the water, and they have to ask for if they gotta ask for their water meter and their light meter, right? I lost my train of thought. So, my question is it still, what if, well, and the thing is that every month you see these people, these apartments have trash out there. They have sofas, couch, sofas, mattresses, nightstands, and they're always out there. But it's every week, every other week, or especially the first of the month. But how are we gonna stop that? I understand that we gotta put cameras.
We just met with our drivers on Friday morning at 6:45. We had a meeting. All this information was passed to them. So they're gonna provide us all our hotspots on the areas where it's continuously the problem. And we're gonna do a weekly report, and we're gonna pass it to PD and Community Development. Our recommendation to our chiefs and Community Development is to start with our outreach, providing flyers, communication, education, because this ordinance have never been enforced for a long while. So right now that we're gonna go at 100%, go in social media, television, radio and stuff, and we're gonna try, to push as much as possible.
How long is this communication or the outreach is gonna last? Is
We're
it gonna
planning
last
to
for?
keep it for 6 months. Right now, we're kind of going through the channels for that to get approval from budget. So slowly we're moving, but we're achieving, what we're trying to achieve. But once we get our new fiscal year, we're gonna get the contracts with the radio station, TV, everything that we have to do. Because it takes, in order for us to improve something, and actually implement it, we need to do the outreach.
So
make sure
have
do
we
that.
come up with something different for this ordinance, to change out the ordinance? Do you have like another language or
Well,
suggestions?
And on the ordinance, when we met with the chief, he told us that we were their prices were down, that we need to put them up, because his neighbor just bought he gave us an example. Well, my neighbor just bought a fridge, and he asked Home Depot to take it, and they wanted to charge him $50 to take it for the disposal of the fridge, if when you charge him 15. And I said, sir, we just would like to actually enforce, right, and move it forward before we start doing any changes to our ordinance, because it's an affordable price for $15 for a fridge. And then if you add a washer and dryer, it's 10, so it's 25. And if you add a sofa, it's $5. So for 3 items, we're charging $30. And every item after that is $5. So he said, well, okay. So what we actually asked, and they were more than happy to help us, it was we already provided an email with all this information, but we're gonna do the hard copies of the hangers. We're gonna do everything that we have to do, make sure we cut our flyers and provide all
So
that
after
information.
6 months, you're saying, so after 6 months, we're gonna start, implementing, you leave that outside, there's no tag it. Is there something that we can, enforce the saying, or verbiage saying, put a tag, like we put something, the City of Laredo has been, and they notify us, cause it's orange, right? Can, whoever put in verbiage saying, okay, this belongs to, whoever's gonna leave it out there, because you're saying everybody has their own water meter, and
And
just.
some of them,
And some of them,
You
okay,
know,
so,
there's different.
what I'm
there's
saying,
different
just,
scenarios.
if they're gonna put it out there, they gotta put the address or whatever and place it on the bulky items and saying this is what covers for this house.
And I believe we already have some tags that we can also share. Implement the, actually, solid waste, if there's a problem with any of the woolly botes or anything, they already have a tag, right? Where they say, you know, this is the fine, da, da, da. We can also implement that to also help and assist with our work. If that needed, we can also do so.
Yes, go ahead.
I just had, thank you, Mayor. So nothing's being updated in the ordinance itself?
Well, the ordinance itself already have all the fees. The
So we
thing
just
it was
haven't-
not enforced,
we
the
haven't been
ordinance,
enforcing it?
I'm sorry?
It just hasn't been enforced?
Never been enforced, well, it's been since 18 so far, 18. The 18 that they stopped the enforcement of the ordinance, and also that this information was up there.
Okay, well, I think, I mean, thank you so much for the information. I don't want to speak for everybody, but from when I had brought this item back a couple of months ago, the intention is that here we keep citing these properties and it's there, and the orange tag stays there for months at a time, and the point is to try and get the junk off of the streets faster, even if it's having to find property owners, because then we continue this vicious cycle of junk on the sidewalks.
And we understand that, Councilwoman, but the enforcement, it needs to come from our PD, for enforcement officers, which is coming within our code enforcement, which is community development, and also right now, we're now counting with PD to also help us enforce. The solid waste is a department that picks up the trash.
Mayor, if I could step in as well too, and just know that a lot of this information that will be going in conjunction with each other, right? We have to do an educational campaign so that everybody understands who's responsible for what happens out there. But that does not mean that we can't already cite somebody if it's a constant issue with that. The challenge we're gonna have, and you provided us last year within the budget 2 additional code enforcement officers for every district. That's going to be part of their responsibility. Community development won't be doing some of that work anymore as well too. It's going to be through the police department with these code enforcement officers. The challenge we're going to have, and this is where I think it goes back to Councilwoman, your question about do we amend anything within our ordinance. When we do a code enforcement violation, that individual has 10 days to respond to that enforcement. If they respond saying it's not my stuff, then of course, then it takes a little bit longer because it has to go to court and everything. I think we can speed that process up with that. I think what you're hearing from solid waste is that if it's a 1 meter property, then that meter is the one that gets the violation for anything that's out there. If there's more than 3 of them, then it goes to the property owner itself. So that whoever owns that property. That's been part of the challenge, I think, with the enforcement of this is knowing exactly, they have to go back and they have to write that up and bring it back forward in that way. And I think that's the thing that I heard as well too from the council, was to speed up this process, because the trash will sit out there, and we have this inherent problem right now is that we have 10 days that it sits out there. And I believe that we have the right we can speed that up for certain nuisances up to even 5 days and say, we just have to give that proper notice so there's a response back, and then get rid of that trash a little bit faster from that. We have to provide the notice, otherwise if we go pick it up without providing the notice, then it is at our cost. And the idea is to try to stop or try to change the behavior, which goes back to the educational side of what everybody's trying to do as well too. But I think those are the things that we can do a little bit differently. I think I believe we have almost all of our code enforcement is all now situated from where we added on. We've moved everybody around. So I think we can start hammering that enforcement a little bit better, but we want to do it with an educational piece to it, because I think we want to remind everybody, just give us a call, we can help. We can figure out how to get this out of there. But the longer the trash sits there, that's what's going to have the negative impacts on our neighborhood, so.
Mayor, just follow up real quick. So thank you very much. Solid Waste and Environmental have been doing great work amongst the tidal wave of trash that's out there. I can't believe, sometimes I'm really impressed at the timeliness with which you respond, and that's an attribution to you and to your staff and everybody that works there. So I'm really proud of that. But having said that, that's one of the reasons that I had requested that something like this bold action happens, because it's really not fair. I really still don't think that, the education part is gonna be key. But how do you know after the fact, if you have a dumpster, who put that out there? So if you have the 4 water meters, 4 apartment complex, 4 unit apartment complex, and there's a sofa out there, we still don't know who did it. And so, I'm not sure what the real answer is with that. The ordinance speaks for itself. As much as I like our legal system, I really don't want it to get even near that, because it prolongs the process and it just becomes uglier. So I really think that just pounding on the educational process for months and months on end is gonna be the key. We really have to, get all of our faces out there and promote this and push this, just for the sake of, like I said, I see y'all's people working and every day, and I'm just proud of them with what they do, with what they have, equipment-wise and manpower-wise. So I just don't see it fair that there's people out there that continue to dump stuff out there and expect, because of lack of education, that somebody will pick it up, right? As I mentioned before, it's been also a cultural thing, and people understand this, and let's not be naive about it. People understand that when you put a TV on your sidewalk, it's like I said, it is one man's trash is another man's gold, right? So, but I'm talking about really the habitual people that go out there. Like I said, apartment complexes is always gonna be sofas, mattresses, box springs, in that order, constantly. And so, while I applaud your efforts in doing this, it's gonna be very difficult to identify which unit. If you have a 100-unit apartment complex, who did it, And that's the challenge. But I think we need to pound on the fact that we have great people working for our city, and that it's very difficult to police, and that we will continue to work with everybody as much as we can. I like your idea, because if you tell somebody, look, we're gonna charge you maximum $30 for these 3 things, either you take the $30 and we remove it, or we'll cite you $150. Is that really the case?
Yes.
Right? So I like that, but the amount of time, the sustainability of it is gonna be low, to continuously pound on that issue is gonna be, I think, the key education here. The key part of this education is just pounding the educational part on it. Because like you said, there are hot spots, and I think there's a lot of people out there that get it. But, there's gotta be policing also where there's dumping. There's also, on a much larger scale, commercial dumping also, so, we have our work cut out for us, but I just think that, we tell the community to police, help us police this, we can keep our city cleaner. But if we don't, and we just leave it up to us, we'll continue to work at our pace, and we'll continue to do a great job, but it's a non-sustainable, formula for success.
Thank you very much, Councilmember. Also, the drivers.
Go ahead.
I want to thank you for especially the fact that your code enforcement officers will be the ones that will be reporting the hotspots, because I think that's very proactive. I know that all of us drive around the districts that we represent, and we could probably share many of them. But the fact that you have the people who are doing this every day and being very proactive about identifying those spots, I think is great to have that reporting system, and I thank you very much. I wanted to ask Mr. Neb, you had mentioned that you thought you could reduce the amount of time from 10 days to 5 days for the normal code enforcement timeframe. need action from this council to be able to do that, or is that something that you can do internally?
No, I believe that we will have to amend the ordinance for that. There are specific instances within nuisances that you can declare for public health and safety, which allows you to speed up the process. What I would ask is that if you would ask, have legal prepare that and shorten that window, at least for that topic. I don't know if there's anything else that we should look at for nuisances as far as making them a little bit more substantial, because the court system takes a little while to walk through for a lot of different things. But in my mind, because this junk or this trash, it actually breeds other issues, and that's why I say this has to happen faster than what it was.
So can we entertain a motion to?
Are you good?
Because it doesn't have just a report.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's where it's a little bit frustrating, because this is exactly what we asked prior.
Yes.
To some, like the prior items that we had brought before, so it's already a motion from previous council directed.
Go ahead.
Some couple of questions real quick. The bulky item trucks, do they have like a weigh mechanism, the way that they weigh the?
We are counting with the same trucks that we've been, using for the past 20 years. We still do the service for that, for the bulky and the branches with the same.
But there's no way we can add
They
a
get
weighing
weighed
mechanism?
as soon as they go to the scale before going to the working phase at the landfill.
So the trucks just go by, pick up every station, or they have a list of every station they go?
Yes, and right now, when we started promoting and this is just for your information, we started promoting last Sunday. From last Sunday to now, we already received 50 requests for quotes and stuff. And I believe we're going on 10 already, they already paid for the service. This is just in a week.
And this is for management, and thank you so much, Ms. Castillo. Is there any way, I know that where code enforcement is right now, we're training you code enforcement, where, you're opening up a new division. But is there any way that we can have those operators that are picking up because they're out there more, get them certified, get them trained to give out citations, because they see the bulky items more? We have enough, I know we have, 5 or 6 code enforcers, but, having extra eyes will never hurt, and have them trained, because they're the ones, they're the expertise on what's going on the streets and what they're picking up, right?
Yeah, and council member, the challenge you're gonna have is that they're certified code enforcement officers, and our drivers are not. I agree with you, though, that the drivers are our first line of defense. They're the ones that are on every street every day. I think the challenge has been is that we need them to call in and say, hey, just so you know, this is that problem area. But Chief, I think you might be able to draw it a little bit farther than I did.
So good evening, Chief Rodriguez for the
Go ahead,
record.
Chief.
Mayor, City Council, the process right now, it's already moving along. We're about to hire what we call them community service officers. And what we're gonna do with them is not only code enforcement they're gonna be focusing on, right? Yes, it is code enforcement, their core function, but what we want them to do is to do more, right? So for example, on this issue, there's cameras all over the place, right? If we have a repeat offender continuing in an apartment complex, continuing to throw trash inside, we want them to do the follow-up, find out where the cameras are at, find out exactly who's the one throwing these items, and then go from there to do a little bit more than just trying to figure out who's the one that threw that trash and trying to find him inside him. So there's gonna be more of a follow-up investigation rather than just, trying to figure out every day who is the one that threw that trash.
Mayor, and that's part of it too, is that the ticket is only actually the first part of this thing. There's all this time that's spent behind it. Then there's the time to go to court, there's the time to go to all that. And I think then our drivers are now just doing code enforcement work. And I think that's the challenge we'll have with that.
Is there any way, when you're talking about, we're enforcing the property owners to buy cameras. Is there any way that the city can have cameras and set them up in our area or in our easement, which belongs to the city? Meaning like stop signs and face that area, so we can pick up that data, because, that's something that we're gonna have, and making sure, and once they see the camera, it's a hot zone, they'll stop, but is there any way that we can, just have different cameras, different places?
That would be part of the investigation, right? Wherever we see that there is a hotspot and there's a repeat offender in a specific area, is to deploy cameras that we bought with general fund and be able to identify the person that continues to do that, right? And so it's not only from giving citation, but what Mr. Neff said is like following up with courts, following up and to make sure that if they continue to do it, that we continue to cite them and making sure that there's consequences, right? And like we see in everything that we do, right? Every time that we put out that there's consequences to what they're doing, things tend to slow down.
But my question was, Mr. Chief, is it possible that we can set up cameras on stop signs, let's say it's in the corner of where majority of the apartments or many of the apartments, there's corners or there's easement or like something of the city, the metro sign or whatever. Can we set up those cameras facing that area on the easement, seeing who is the one? Because the majority of their conversation is that, oh, they dropped it off here. It's not, it doesn't belong to us or whatever. We'll see who dropped it off. We can, you can go out and look for them, or, just go out and cite them, or have a conversation.
It would be, yes, we can put the camera, Councilman. The problem is that with the cameras, it's always for deterrence, right? Once they see the camera, they're not gonna throw anything, right? Because they know they're gonna be being watched. But where our thing is to do the actual follow-up from other cameras that are in existence, right? But there's a lot of things we can do to make sure that we try to bring this issue to a halt. But at the end of the day, it's gonna take resources, right? And those resources are already coming. I think 16 of them are already gonna be funded to be put through the system. But right now, we're gonna get 8. We're gonna train them. It's gonna take a month and a half for us to train them on city ordinances, on every code that exists so that we can enforce. And more than anything is for the follow-up to happen. If there's things that for some reason and I always say, right, we cite and we set and forget, right? We can't set and forget. We have to cite and continue monitoring those areas that we know it's a continued problem in our city.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great
If you
job.
want your
Appreciate
PSAs, we'll reach out to you, council assistants, so we can schedule that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to approve the final reading of ordinance number 1 on the supplemental agenda.
Okay, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passed.
Mayor, motion to go into executive session, request executive session under Texas Government Code 551.071-1A related to pending litigation against City of Laredo for discussion and possible action to approve the resolution to allow the city attorney's office to handle cause number, 2025 CVK 001311D3, Leanna Garcia versus City of Laredo in-house.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion passed. Executive session.
Time is 8:12. We're back from executive session. No action was taken. Can I get a motion?
Motion for staff to continue as directed.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Next item, we have, item 48. Discussion with possible action on setting standards for commercial parking lots and any other matters incident thereto. I brought this item because there's a lot of parking lots in the Mines Road area that have a lot of potholes and that are not, and I know that people will say, well, you have potholes in the street and all that, but I'm not talking about just normal, potholes. I'm talking about big holes in the parking lots. And right now, we don't really have jurisdiction on it since it's private property. So I wanted to see what it is that we can do to, at least at some point, when it's unsafe or when the public is concerned, how can we request that these owners fix their parking lots that are private?
Good evening, Vanessa Guerra for your planning staff. We have a small presentation.
Okay.
Just to go over what we wanted to review is the impact of parking lots with potholes, the current ordinances, and a few recommendations. So, parking lots, we've all seen sort of parking lots that exhibit this sort of, can you all see? Okay.
Yes.
This sort of paving, right? We'll see potholes, uneven, and this sort of conditions can damage tires, they can bend rims, suspension systems, even the oil pan. They can even be a hazard for pedestrians that can trip and fall into potholes as they're trying to make their way across these commercial lots. So, industrial parking lots are considered commercial parking lots. The commercial parking lots are required to be paved according to the ordinance. The section 24-78.2 requires that the owners of property used for parking and loading shall maintain such areas in good condition without potholes and free of all dust, trash, and other debris. So, what can we do when we encounter these types of parking lots? We can do some more outreach, announcing to the citizens, asking for their assistance to help us by reporting these sorts of locations, just as we do all our other sort of nuisances that the public assists us with by reporting. Well, of course, we can issue citation for parking lot owners with potholes. One of the other methods that we can do is, instead of seeking citation, we can issue warnings and then give them 60 days or an appropriate amount of time to repair the parking lots. What can also happen, and we did check with legal on this one, is we can deny or hold new business applications that are in the process of seeking new business certificates until the parking lot and potholes are repaired or paved. Of course, there's legal relief, there's injunctions, and then the most stringent would be revocation or suspension of certificates of occupancy. So those are all the sorts of reactions that the city can have and that are available to enforce this ordinance.
Okay, Councilman Garza?
Yeah, I recently asked this question on the issue of the warnings. As much as I like this ordinance, because it is done rightfully so, we have to be, or I would say the word might not be we have to be, but I would like to see we can be a little bit more considerate of the fact that some of these ordinances have been placed on hold for the longest time. And in doing so, especially unpaved parking lots that are now, through this body, we said we need to get that ordinance going. But since then, you know, economic slowdown has been going on, and that's reality. It's starting to slow down. And some of these property owners might not have the ability to do it within the 60 days or 90 days, or even maybe 180 days. My question would be, or my request would be, we can look further into identifying who those people are when we're doing it, and figuring out a way that we can put them on a performance program where they can say, look, we don't have the monies right now to do anything, but we can certainly commit that it'll happen within 1 year. And without having to go, because we're gonna be wasting time going back and forth over there when we know the ability to pave a 2-acre parking lot right now it's gonna be astronomical, number one. Number two, whether they can or they cannot, it's not, it is a big issue. But I think that if we consider at least something that we can, instead of pushing them through the legal system to get it done, if we can identify ways that we might be able to help that business community be a little bit more, help them get them through these tough times that are coming, without having to, force upon them this ordinance that was not enforced over a long period of time.
We could certainly do that.
Thank you.
Councilmember Cigarro?
Thank you. So I guess my question with that recommendation is if the city is going to identify property owners that do have the ability to pay versus property owners that really are stressed. So there is an understanding that the economic conditions have changed, and certainly some property owners will be stressed. But as we've discussed on council, it is this desire for us to have a cleaner city. We feel that it will attract more economic investment. And so I do think the definition needs to be made between property owners that are able to fulfill their obligations versus those that cannot. And with the understanding that the longer any property owner waits, the more expensive this project is going to get. Unfortunately, there does not seem to be a way to slow down the rising costs, especially in this climate. So what can the department do to make that distinction? Or is there a way for our legal department to assist in figuring out how we make that definition and require what is needed from property owners who do have the ability to pay?
You're absolutely right. We would need some sort of ordinance guidance that within the adopted code in order for us to be able to negotiate those sorts of things with the property owners. Currently, we do our best to give warnings to seek compliance rather than be punitive or set them through the citation system. We've been informally working with them per the previous ordinance that would allow 20% per year to come into compliance. So, you know, something a little bit more formal would help staff be able to navigate, you know, making those distinctions between who can accommodate the paving or the repair to repair the potholes versus the paving.
I would caution against something like that, just because, you know, we're supposed to apply the laws fairly and evenly and equally. And so we've been dealing with this issue for about 3 years. This item isn't specifically on the paving ordinance, it's more on the upkeep and like the commercial parking lot. The other one was more industrial parking lots that needed to be paved, but I guess it's all kind of meshed together in the same.
Yeah, under the code, all parking lots are considered commercial parking lots. Industrial, be they industrial, for purposes of the type of pavement versus asphalt, concrete, they make the distinction of industrial parking lots. But with regard to how you pave, that you have to pave, they're all considered commercial parking lots.
So let me ask you, the fines that are initiated through the code enforcement, do those go through the municipal court?
Yes.
Okay, so I think the judge is the one that would have to look at affordability and special circumstances. I think our job is just to enforce the ordinances as written and then leave it up to the municipal judge court system to decide, you know, extenuating circumstances on a case-by-case basis. So the reason I brought this on here was because I had been asking about what we can do, but sometimes I get the response that, well, it's private property, right? It's private property, and so we're limited on sometimes the things that we can do or enforce on private property. But I guess in this case, it's still within our purview. We do have ordinances. So I guess it's just good for us to know that if we do have a situation where there's a parking lot that we're getting complaints about, because a lot of these are reactive. I don't really think we have the manpower to initiate a task force to go out there and start looking. But I think on a reactive basis, if they call 311, should definitely initiate some kind of site visit with some kind of letter of warning or something, maybe to Councilman
We can
Garza's
initiate
point.
our standard procedure of issuing warning. Because of the staffing limitations, when there's, you know, when it's obvious an egregious circumstance where it's long-standing, they go directly to citation. With regard to the tree and shrub, they've been issuing warnings in those cases so that we can get them to try to start getting to compliance. For the most part, they do move directly to citation. Only in special circumstances like the tree and shrub and other limited cases do they do first a warning.
Okay. Well, I think that was pretty much what I wanted to know and present on, because I don't really have a motion for this. Does anybody else have any questions?
No.
Okay, so I think we're done with this item. And then we're on item 49, discussion with possible action to consider directing management to pursue a memorandum of understanding, an MOU with the railroad company to minimize or eliminate the blocking of intersections during peak traffic hours with the goal of improving traffic flow, public safety, and emergency response access, particularly during high congestion times and any other matters incident thereto. Co-sponsored by Councilmember Alyssa Cigarroa. I know she's been bringing this item up for a while, and I believe Zone has a legal statement or opinion on this matter. I can tell you it happened today as well, like getting over here at 5:30, the train was just stopped on the tracks, so it is an issue in our city. I've been getting a lot of complaints from business owners in the Carlton Road area, west towards the river. There are warehouses out there. There's a neighborhood out there. We don't have a lot of overpasses, and so it does become a problem to get around. And it is interfering with the movement for our businesses. They have to just wait. They have no option, and people to get home, they have to wait. So I know Councilmember Cigarroa's residents also deal with it a lot. So Zone is, what can we do?
Well, just for your information, Mayor Pro Tem, federal law preempts this area. Federal law actually struck down a state code that created fines and penalties for trains obstructing for periods of time. So therefore, we cannot pass an ordinance that would go against this federal law. And you mentioned an MOU, which is an agreement, but the enforceability of it would come into question, because we can't go to court and say you violate this MOU, but perhaps we can talk to them and negotiate and make them understand and help us reduce these congestions.
Has the city ever done that before? I know Councilmember Cigarro's brought it up before a couple times. Has there been movement in that direction where we've had conversations about this situation here over the years? What has been done to talk to the railroad companies up until now?
Mayor Pro Tem, and I haven't been here for a lot of those conversations, but I do know there's been a lot of talk on the quiet zone conversation, and that's the blowing of the whistles in and out of there. I don't know if there's been a great deal of conversation on the blocking of the trains. I think we knew this was coming when they increased the extra track across as well too, to bring the goods back and forth. So I don't think there's been a lot of conversation. I did have a conversation with Mr. Stedman about this once you had placed the item on there the last go around as well too, to have that conversation with the local government representative, Kyle, I can't remember, but thank you, his last name. So there may be the ability. There are some examples out there for the MOUs. They're not completely enforceable because we're not allowed to have the leverage within that. But we can actually talk about the public safety side. But I don't think there's been a lot of conversation on the blocking of the tractors as much, or the trains as much, as there has been about trying to do the quiet zone study. And there's been 2 or 3 studies that the city has either undertaken themselves or done through the federal system.
Mayor, if I may, just a comment. This was discussed before I was even on council. So I had meetings with Union Pacific Railroad and KCS. It was called KCS then, Kansas City Southern. Reasons being is when the train is going southbound, Mexican Customs stops it over there, and they cannot help it. It's a Mexican custom. They need to go through Mexico. And that's where the problem lies. So a lot of it, when the trains are going southbound, that's the problem. Now, when they're going northbound, the problem is that there are illegal immigrants on the train, and they stop the trains to get them down, arrest them, whatever they need to do. And the conductor and the engineer need to stop the train so they can get up there and do their job, whatever our customs are doing. But the majority of it is when the trains are going southbound, we simply don't have the power or the authority to tell Mexican Customs, don't stop the train. You can only stop it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. We tried enforcing that because there is a state law that states you can't block the tracks for a certain amount of time. The only problem is the engineer's in Mexico. He's on the other side. They're on the other side. That's where the problem lies. And I hate to say this because it's a horrible problem that the city faces every single day, but that's just a fact of the matter. The engineer, the person in charge of maneuvering that train, is in Mexico most of the time, and we simply can't enforce it. He's not here. He's in Mexico, for the lack of a better term. But that's a problem with the train going southbound and northbound. Like I say, it's just our customs side stopping them, or Border Patrol, because there are people on the train that just shouldn't be there. But just want to give you a little bit of insight when it came to it.
Councilmember Segarra.
So, since there is interest to have some type of discussion, open up a discussion with Mr. Morgan, and I think not only can we address this issue, but also the results of that safety study that was undertaken by Kansas Pacific, Canadian Pacific, Kansas City Southern, and have an open dialogue, because on council, we've been requesting a meeting with representatives, an official meeting with the City of Laredo and CPKCS, so that we can talk about the results of the safety study, what their recommendations are. They're talking about grade separations, and all of it ties to creating quiet zones once some safety metrics are met. So this conversation can happen and we can tie it all together. I know when they did open up the new bridge and said that their capacity had basically doubled from 30 trains to 60 trains per day, their comments were that they would not ramp up to 60 trains for some time, but it's been 6 months, I believe. So it probably is a great time to check in with them and see where they're at, see what the increased freight is, and then also just begin to work with them. I feel that we have very little communication with them, so we don't know what their plans are. And as a city, it's important because not only do they cross north and south, as Councilmember Gutierrez was mentioning, they also are east and westbound, and they go east and impact, all the neighborhoods on 359 as well. So I would really like for the city to initiate a conversation with them.
Councilmember, she's next, and then we'll get to you.
I just would like to reiterate all the comments that have already been made, and hope that this is an issue that's not going to be going away, and I hope that we can make some real investments in infrastructure for the future. And again, just reiterating that the need to communicate with what the plans are of in the future with what the railroads are thinking as well. And there's quite a big communication gap, and every time in asking management where what's happening with the studies, nobody ever knows, nobody has a response, and so this is a major impact to our city, and we should know more.
Councilor Javier?
Just quick question to management. I don't know, and maybe Mr. Ramon can answer this. I don't know by any chance. Has there ever been a conversation between the city and TxDOT seeking to have an overpass for the trains going north and coming southbound? Has there ever been there? Has there any records of a conversation of investing some money going into making an overpass, or studies of how that will help or how it would affect our community? Maybe just having a TxDOT or having a conversation with the MPO,
Well, Mr. Ned, before you answer, I want to just say on the MPO, we do have some projects. We have at least the Colton grade project fund that was on the MPO, but we took too long to get it done, that now we're kind of having to go back and redo some stuff because it took too long. With the railroad, they had to approve it. So there are some grade separations. That's the only one I know of, and Ramon can correct me if I'm wrong, but we probably need to get a couple more on there.
Yeah,
Mr. Neff?
and going right to the council members, and talking about what Councilmember Figueroa had said as well too, is that grade separations have been a topic of the conversation within the safety studies as well too, because if you can remove the trains away from the access from the vehicles, then that's what happens. Now, I don't, again, all the number of crossings that we have, I don't think we will see ever grade separations of it all. You know, an elevated rail or a lowered street or any of that nature. I think we're gonna look at trying to find areas there. Just so you're aware, there is money out there in the federal money. I think they call it CRISI, is the funding source for that. And so there is a process to go through there. And I think that's where we go back to that study and saying what's the status of that study, because it'll talk about the grade separations, it'll talk about the improvements at the intersections so that people can't cross around the arms, which allows for the quiet zones and everything. But so that I can understand where the council's at for trying to get that to that level.
Yeah, because if it's been, you know, a conversation that we've been having for so many years, or maybe before council was even on, you know, maybe it's something we should start looking into it instead of kicking down the can down the road, and look and see if there's at least just to start off and have council come to a decision or have a conversation or a study out there ready for when we do have the funds to initiate, you know, that program.
I do know Congressman Cuellar was involved in the helping receive the funding for the big study that we're all anxious to see. And I think that'll tell us exactly what a lot of the different things that we can do.
I'd like to move to direct management to set up a meeting, and not necessarily that it would occur before next council meeting, but that you would initiate a conversation with them to find out when we could set up a meeting to include, because we have a lot of interest on this council, to include the council members that are interested in participating and begin that dialogue with the railroad company.
Do you have a motion? Do you have a second?
A second.
A second. Councilman Baja?
Madam Pro Tem, if I may, can we just amend that motion and add text dot into that conversation as well? Maybe just to get, using their advice and their expertise on how everything's, you know, flows. Just to have a conversation, to bring them in and have them there in the meeting as well.
Councilmember Sierra, will you add text dot to your amendment?
Sure, I would just hesitate, just because I don't know that TxDOT is participating in the safety study, in the CRISI study. At some point, they may very well be a necessary partner when we're talking about grade separations, but I'll allow management to explore to see if it makes sense at this stage to engage TxDOT.
Okay, so she has a motion, we can do another motion afterwards, and we can talk about text dot.
Well, I think it's a great idea, and I just wanted to add, is there is funding coming in through the state for the grade separation.
Then I will accept the amendment.
Is what I've heard, so, yeah.
So Councilmember Sierra amended her motion, and then who had the second? Okay, so you're gonna second it still? Okay, so we have the second. I just wanna reiterate that, I still remember when, like, I had first come into council and we were having all those issues with the Mexican side and the American side and the Mexican side going down, and it's the same kind of coordination, so we do also have to include our Mexican counterparts. We have to bring everybody to the table. I don't know if we need to do it through the port of entry or through a public safety committee, or if we wanna have an internal meeting first and then find a house for this, but it's gonna take ongoing conversations. For us to get, I mean, the number of times the system goes down in Mexico is drastically reduced. You can vouch for that, from what it was to what it is now. So the conversations are gonna be crucial, but it's not gonna be just one conversation. If we're gonna wanna see lasting change, we're gonna have to have often quarterly, bi-monthly, monthly, or something meetings, probably have an update through the port of entry, get the representatives from both sides. If it's a Mexican issue, like Councilmember Gutierrez said, then we need to bring them to the table and see what is taking so long. Is there something that we can do on our end to reduce some of these things that are happening and figure and get a game plan going. Councilor Seattle, you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I appreciate that. I think, once we begin that conversation, then I think we do explore how we set up a more formal process for a recurring meeting. But I think, you know, getting this initial meeting started, since we have the foundation of that safety study, we know that, I don't know if it's complete, but I believe that the results are upcoming. And if we can start that as the foundation and develop out that framework for more frequent meetings of all the partners involved. But I'm willing to accept the amendment for TxDOT to be invited to this preliminary meeting with CPKCS.
Mr. Neb, do you have staff that can be committed to this initiative and make this kind of part of something that they work on?
Your Pro Tem, yes, I think we can. I think that was part of the challenge as well too, was finding the right home to keep the intensity on as well too. I think that was what was happening in the past as well too.
Well, if you can let us know who's gonna be in charge of it and what to expect, because, you know, it is a priority, and it's
Right.
just, it's gonna get worse with all the crossings and the trade increasing, So there's a motion, there's a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
I think we can go and put Joe Valdez in charge of it. I think we can.
Yeah, I think he wants it, Ramon, too.
I've been dealing with 25 years.
I think we're at the end of our agenda.
We got one more.
One
We
more?
have one more. The supplemental item, we have number 2, City Manager's Office.
Supplemental item 2,
Item number 2.
Mr. Knapp.
Mayor Pro Tem and City Council, what I'm asking for here, as we've had all these conversations about our police departments and our fire department, I would like to do a salary study for both police and fire. It's about 180 days to get the study done. The part that I have for you, I did provide you a draft of where we were looking for the RFP, because we want to look at our numbers, we want to look at our classifications, we want to look at the entire thing. So the reason that this is in front of you is because it's over my spending authority. And so I anticipate, based upon what we have seen out of other studies in El Paso and other areas, that this will run about $225,000. I'm hoping it'll be a little bit less, but I want to make sure that it's a comprehensive one, because we want to look at the compression within our police department. We want to look at the efficiency studies have brought a lot of things to light. So we want to look at all the different pieces of our public safety, because we want both our police and fire to be able to breathe and be able to move with how the city's growing. And so that's why we want to do this salary study now, in order to make sure that we have everybody there. It will incorporate unless Chief and I have been working hard on trying to figure out these retention strategies that we have to put together, but it will be looking at that as well too. But I need the authority to go up to at least 225 with an RFP.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and we have a second. Does anybody want to comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Oh.
No.
You want to stay longer? What else do you want to talk about?
He's like, no.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say aye, but that's not my line.
I'm ready. Ready? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Besides Joaquin?
Nope.
Motion, we're adjourned.
Thank you.